Hey, Goldies. Thank you so much for joining me for a little Swiffer session. We're going to Swiffer for a few minutes. Um, this video is for, it's just an open video to Oshay Duke Jackson. Let me see. Is the one? Is this the one? Okay. You know what, girl? I didn't even get to my email. I'm gonna make sure I do as soon as I disconnect from this video. But I don't know if Oshay has quote unquote been talking about me. He's been reporting on me since the petition, but hasn't like said my name specifically because he doesn't want to give me any clout, quote unquote. But he has been, showing my name and that whole thing. And I have known Oshay, well, not really known him, but like internet known him for a little while, and probably like 2 years or something, I don't know. And you know, I really didn't have a problem with him until like kind of recently, and I don't think we got drama or beef. But I think we definitely don't agree on some things. And that's kind of what has brought me to this place where we are now. It's not about disliking a person. Yeah, the petition. Yep. It's not about disliking a person. It's about the results that are coming from the things that they've been doing. And this stuff has gone on long enough, in my opinion. I know Oshay has made a lot of money. I know Kevin has made a lot of money. And that's good. I hope that they are like using the money well and investing the money well. But as Black women, we are done like done being used for people to come up on. Okay. At least that's where I'm coming from with it. We are like done being a butt of your joke. Hey, woke. We are done being a butt of your jokes and your little punchlines so that y'all can bring in millions of dollars and millions and gazillions of subscribers and all of this type of stuff. Oshay is very excuse me, Oshay is very vocal about how much money he's made through his work with the manosphere and how much his reaction videos bring in whenever he uses Kevin's name and all of this type of stuff. And, make your money. I'm cool with, Black men making their money. I'm cool with anybody making their money. But when it comes, when it serves to the detriment of, an entire demographic of women, I have an issue. And when your work, your quest to make the money makes us unsafe, I have an issue with it. And that's why I've been speaking about it for the past couple days. Now, y'all know that, girl, it's a lot of them. And I don't even really know about like their ranking, but I know that Oshay is really high up. I think that Kevin is number one in the manosphere because he's the first one to 1 million subscribers, and they make a big deal about him. Hence, all of these dusty trolls up in my comments and stuff. They make a big deal about Kevin. Excuse me. So I think Kevin is like number one, even though he didn't really start the manosphere. He kind of like, hey, Raining, how are you? He didn't start the manosphere, but he kind of like made it more popular. And yeah, and then I know that Oshay is like a primary player. I think he's a founding member. I don't know. There's another guy that I'm not gonna name because To be honest, I feel kind of sorry for this man. You know, this man is like 50 something. These guys are like our parents' age, okay? Anyway, so I'm not going to say his name. And then there was another guy that they had a little nasty split with not too long ago, that I think was really instrumental when they started the manosphere too. Um, so the petition, thank you for asking. It's slowing down right now. Oh, okay. Okay, Jason. The petition is slowing down right now. We are trying to get to 1,500 signatures, and once we get to 15, then we will be one of the most signed petitions or something. We'll be featured as a most signed petition on the website. So my overall goal is 100K, and like I said, the true end result outside of yes, baby. Hold on for 1 second. Outside of the primary goal to have Kevin and his dangerous message removed from YouTube and IG, I also hold on for 1 second. From having those dangerous voices kind of um, you know reformed. I also want to continue to pursue the legislation. All right. And that's really my ultimate goal, pursuing the legislation, because even if those voices are, taken off of YouTube and IG, their thoughts have already permeated the hearts and minds of so many men, and, their advice and things. Mommy, yes, baby. Okay. Okay, I'll fix it, okay? Okay. Okay. Their thoughts and their perspective have already permeated so many men's mind that. Okay, let's leave this one alone. No, I might have to come back because my baby is right here again. Not down. Okay, so their thoughts have already permeated so many hearts and minds that we really kind of are unsafe out here, especially now that we have introduced domestic discipline into this whole thing. It's really a dangerous thing, and people don't want to talk about that. People don't really want to acknowledge that. But the reason why I wanted to have this conversation was after the petition was brought to my attention earlier today. I had some real questions for Oshay. Oshay is number 2. I'm learning right here. So I know it was like a collective effort, and they all kind of grew the space to what it is now. And Kevin kind of has emerged as their front man. But first, I wanted to point out how this space, my question to Oshay is, and it's a really sincere question. I want to know if Oshay and the other leaders of the space. No, it's not. It's not all because Kevin Samuel said to lose weight and to smile at black men. It's because he said to domestically discipline black women. That's the real reason. And I wish, Anthony Oliver, that y'all would stop being so stupid. That's what I'm about to get into, because y'all are like really showing how remedial you guys are, and it's not even funny anymore. Like, I think that this is probably a more serious video for me. Like, it's not even funny anymore how slow you guys are acting, okay? Domestically discipline, okay? Discipline, okay? I've never heard him use those words, but everybody else have. And it's time for you guys to stop waiting for everybody else to kind of show you the answers, to like give you the answers to the test, and to really start researching and using the information that's at your fingertips. Y'all spend a lot of time regurgitating those tired demographics from blackdemographics.com. No, don't move it, baby. Okay, just come right here. Okay. So it for you. My baby is so spoiled. Y'all spend a lot of time regurgitating those tired demographics from statistics from blackdemographics.com, but y'all really are making yourselves look so bad, and it's not even funny to me anymore. I'm really feeling sad for y'all, and I really want y'all to really think about that. Research Kevin Samuels and domestic discipline or banana split, and it'll come up. All right, and when you finish researching that, Anthony, I know you probably been all in my comments. Send me a comment and tell me what you think. Okay, am I a single mother? Is your mother a single mother? Because then you will understand what, if your mother is a single mother, I will understand why you coming on my channel like this. You see, like, before anybody will domestic discipline a black woman, they will just kick them out the house. Well, that's not what Kevin said to do. And that's not what the other person up in the manosphere said to do either. All right. I used to watch him a lot, but he says things without thinking. Sorry, I had to jump off the train when he said men don't need women, because back in the days, Greeks used to shack up with little boys. And that's a whole nother thing that the men of the space, like Anthony Oliver, just ignored. Y'all can't keep ignoring stupid stuff. Like, y'all can ignore it, but we're not gonna ignore it. And whatever we need to do to like set the record straight, to like keep everybody safe and stuff, then that's what we're gonna do, because I have little boys, okay? And I don't want my little boys being a little page boy to Kevin and his friends because they feel like they don't need women anymore. Because they feel like the only thing they need a woman for is if they want to actually procreate. But everything else my little boy can do. Like, I'm not going for that. All right. And they will start saying the right stuff, just plain ignorance. Okay, Kelly Kell. See, I didn't even really think I was ready for all of that, but I see that they won't let up. They just like being stupid, and I'm starting to feel bad for them now. Okay. You said if you didn't understand what he said, Anthony, it was time for you to go and like understand it. Why would you keep following somebody enough to be up in my comments asking me if I'm a single mother, instead of going to understand? No, Mom and Daddy. Okay, thank you. Instead of going to understand who it is that you're following, they got you asking me questions instead of going to see your own children, okay, that live with their single mother. All right. Gigi, okay. He said they high value black men. Let me get into my list. So I really want to ask Oshay if he's proud of what this space has become and what this space has reflected of the Black American male. Now we can say, chaos. Down. Okay, thank you. I put it down. Okay, chaos. I used to entertain you, but I'm done with you. All right. So please don't ask me any more questions. Okay. So if Chaos has anything else to say, y'all can go ahead and block him. All right. So hey, Rude. So I really want to ask Oshay, is he proud of what this space has become and what it has revealed about Black American men, and if it was worth all the views, all the money, all the commentary, the million subscribers and more? Yes, baby. Okay, leave it right there. Okay. Here you go. Thank you. If it was worth all of that, all right. Hey, let's see. Girl, you see, I got my baby right here. I told y'all these babies they are glued to my hip, okay? So the first thing that I wrote down, I have a list of things, and after I get through my little list of things, I'm gonna drop the link if anybody wanna come up and really speak to the points or the questions that I have for Oshay, all right? But this space has exposed Black men as a bunch of excuse makers, blame shifters, and finger pointers, all right? Thank you so much, girl. It's my baby. I love him so much. I love him so much, girl. It's my baby. So this space has exposed Black men as a bunch of excuse makers, blame shifters, and finger pointers. They spent all of their time Motherhood is so precious. Let's see. They spent all of their time pointing their fingers at Black women, white men, and anybody else except for themselves, making excuses, um, placing blame on everybody else except for taking responsibility or taking initiative in their own hands. All right. Now, with all of these petitions going on, they think it's so funny. But like I said, my end goal for my petition is federal legislation. So I don't know what they're doing with their stuff. If they want to have their petition be a joke and some type of go back at what I did, but my petition has a goal to it and like a stated outcome. All right. And that stated outcome is federal legislation. All right. So with all of the petitions going back and forth about this person, that person, you know, today they plagiarized all of my writing. You know, it has become a joke to them, but ultimately the joke will be on them. And I feel bad about that. I really feel sorry for them because they are the only demographic in America that just doesn't get it. They don't get it. It's like they are like eternal children. Like my little baby, they are like eternal children. And you have to show them the way. You have to explain everything. You have to spoon feed them because they just don't get the bigger picture. The next one is that this space has showcased a severe lack of intelligence in the Black male population. Okay, baby, come hold on once. Let me see if I can get him to sit down next to me. Come right here. So this space just call the police if he don't kick you out his house. We'll call the police too, but the federal legislation is for a sentence enhancement for domestic crimes. All right. So after we call the police and kick him out the house, then we are also pushing for the enhancement. Grow God. Y'all think everything is a joke, and the joke will ultimately be on you. Thank you, woke, so much. If you are new here, please like, comment, share, subscribe the video. If you subscribe, please turn on the notification bell so you can be notified of my newest videos, my next videos. All right. This space has showcased a severe lack of intelligence amongst the Black male population. All right, just with the petition that I wrote, almost every Black man who read it out loud struggled significantly. Now, you guys want to blame the single mothers that raised you and say that the kids of single mothers only have a 5th grade reading level, but these are grown men with gray hair that cannot pronounce words, okay, that cannot read aloud like intelligibly. Okay, these are grown men with gray hair that are creating these petitions and can't even formulate a sentence on their own. Okay, like nobody is responsible for that but you are. And you keep shifting blame, but you aren't addressing your own personal deficits. You guys talk about Black women doing what we need to do to be better and improve, and look at the condition that you guys are in. Look at the condition that you guys have exposed of yourselves to the entire world. While thinking that it's funny, you're the only person laughing. Everybody else is laughing at you. You are the only person that thinks it's a joke. You are the only one. Everybody else is pointing their fingers and laughing at you. Okay? Let me read it, girl, because we know they can't yeah, let's read it. They can't write complete sentences.
Mommy, they got.
Okay. Whatever. Yeah, listen, y'all. Based on what Base Kryptonian said, don't drop the charges on Pookie, okay? Keep the charges going so that Pookie can serve his whole sentence. Y'all don't know what y'all saying, but okay. Y'all make sure Pookie get his full sentence, okay? And then after we get the enhancement on the books,
Mommy,
they will they'll serve an even longer sentence, okay?
No, stop.
Okay, that's so stupid. They are so stupid. And they all follow the same ideology, which tells you that domestic discipline is something that you should be pursuing, which means that your ugly self might be up in jail too, facing an enhanced sentence. All right. Aside of that, they have, okay, baby, they have showcased a severe lack of integrity and character. All of the men, and well, not all of the men, but a vast majority of the men in this manosphere space lacks integrity and character, and you can just from the words that they use and the things that they say to other people and other men and other women, you can tell that there's a severe lack of integrity and there's a severe lack of character. Okay. Some of them have even shown themselves to be proud baby daddies. They'll get up here and say, I'm a proud baby daddy. Okay, baby, sit right here. Some of them will even get up here and say that they are a proud baby daddy right here. Okay, put it down right there. Some of them will even get up here on videos and say that they are a proud baby daddy. Okay, pick it up. And some of their largest content creators, like Kevin himself, is actually a baby daddy, right? Or have been on child support and been significantly behind in paying that child support. Yet, these are the same men who have a lot to say to women and a lot of criticism for women, a lot of advice for women, a lot of areas for women to improve, but they themselves have been behind on their own child support. Okay. These men don't even want to pay child support. And then I think they started a petition against child support or something like that. Just trash. Just trash. All right. I'm almost done and I'm gonna drop the link. Okay.
No.
Here, sit by me.
Mommy.
Okay, sit right here.
No.
Sit on my lap.
No.
Okay. Okay. So they have also shown to the world, okay, that they don't value wealth, they don't value education, women, children, family, or marriage. All right. A lot of times, like when they hear a baby in the background, like you guys are hearing my little baby, they'll say, oh, what's that? What's that sound? Whose baby is that? And it's as if they don't understand that. Okay, baby. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me finish talking, okay?
Okay.
It's like they don't understand that women have children. Married women, single women, like that's what women do. Women have children. And they continually try to shame women for what's natural. Okay. Oh, it hurt? I'll fix it, okay? Okay. They continually try to shame women for what's natural, not only what's natural, but what's keeping the community thriving and moving forward. All right. Without these new children coming that they keep turning their noses up and trying to downgrade women on, the community wouldn't even be existent. They have shown that they don't even value their own legacy. All right. This community has shown that it is relying on women to fix it. Even Kevin himself has asked women, what do you plan to do to fix the community? Or what do you plan to do to make the community better? They have not advanced any plans, any agendas, anything outside of waiting for women to come up with the answers to fix the problem that we found ourselves in. The problem that a lack of leadership has created, a lack of male leadership, a lack of male guidance. Okay. They admitted that they have been sleeping for years, for like the past 30 years. They just fell asleep at the wheel. They, quote unquote, got kicked out of the household. But we all know that they just left the household so that they can go and pursue sex any and everywhere from any and everybody who would give it to them, basically. They didn't raise their children. They, didn't see to it that the child had a balanced life or a good education. They didn't even build anything for themselves themselves while they were out there. They simply abandoned responsibility. They didn't want to be depended on because they know if you are being depended on, then your failures matter. The fact that nobody was dependent on Black men for the past 30 years meant that they could be failures and nobody would check them on being failures. And now when we talk about failure, they get upset because they know that it's evident that they have failed for the last 30 years. Okay? All right? Yeah. You know what they love? They love, Gigi, they love trying to downgrade every woman into a baby mama, but that still goes back and points back at them. Why do we have so many quote unquote baby mamas in our community? Why aren't you all marrying the women that's carrying your children? And if you don't want to marry them, then why are you leaving your seed with them? Like, why are you leaving the seed in them to grow? And after that, why are you leaving them to raise your seed alone? You know, it's like they refuse to see how the things they say come back and show a bad reflection, a bad picture of them. All right? They have shown the exact reasons why the community is the way it is. If we look at any hood in every city in America, if you look at the hood, that is a visual representation of the failures of Black men. That's it. Nobody else can really. I mean, there's no way around that. The way that the hood look in every city is a visual like depiction. It's something tangible that shows you the failures of men. All right. Right? And that's not true. A lot of men in this space do have kids. No. They do. It's more men in this space that have children than not. Okay? So if you look at all of our communities, they always talking about how they can go and date interracially. But when they date interracially... Mommy, the TV stop. Okay, I'll turn it on. Just hold on for 1 second, okay? When they go and date interracially, they don't even have a community, a safe, clean community to bring those women back to. They have to go to the communities that other men built, whether that is the Hispanic community, the white community, the Asian community, the Indian community, whatever community it is. They take those women that they are dating interracially with back to the communities that their fathers built for them. All right? They don't have a home, or not a physical home. They don't have a home in terms of a community to even bring their wives back into, to show them what they built themselves, to show them what their fathers built for them, to show them what their grandfathers worked. Don't you write on there. To show them what their grandfathers built. They don't have anything. You hurt your foot? Okay. Yeah. Okay, it's fine. They don't have anything to bring those women that they interracially date back into. And see, that's the difference and the reason why they want every other man, every other race of man to not see value in the Black women, because they know that when a Black woman interracially dates, she becomes a part of that racist community. So she's going to go back to their community that they've been growing, for 30 or 40 or 50 years. So she's going to go to a well-organized, clean community, whereas he doesn't have anything to bring his interracial woman into. And this interracial woman's father knows that. Mommy, and that's why she won't allow that's why he won't allow her daughter to seriously date this man. We're gonna go. You wanna go? Yeah, okay, we're gonna go. Okay, you want me to tell them bye? Yeah. Okay. Okay, you tell them bye. Bye. Let me finish my points and then we can come back. I'll do an open chat and then y'all can tell me what y'all think about what I'm saying. All right. So the thing is that when they are dating interracially, those women's fathers know that they are basically leading their daughters back into the ghetto. And those fathers not going for that. So that's why we don't have a lot of, real serious marriages happening. I mean, those women might engage in some sexual activity, with those black men, but in terms of like really building marriages and families, it's not really happening. I know, right, girl? He want me to go and play with him, and I've been playing with him. We've been to the park and everything. Okay. The other thing that this community has shown is that that this community has encouraged women and men of all races to have a low respect for black men, for black American men. It's different for other races of black men, but for black American men in particular, like this space has highlighted their failures. It just has highlighted their failures, and they pretend to not see it. That's why they get in the comments and try to act crazy like that, but they pretend to not see their own failures, and then they try to ignore the fact that other races, men and women, don't also see their failures. All right, they might not speak about it, but they do see those failures. Okay. And then another thing that I have here is that their hatred, the hatred that they've produced, it, in my opinion, is what's actually about to destroy their number one player. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go. Okay. Okay. Their number one player is about to be destroyed by their hatred, and that is Kevin Samuels. Okay. Now, black women don't believe that we are perfect without failures. Okay, y'all see no problem with swirling, but I mean, I don't see a problem with it either. I personally feel like more black men should date out and go be happy. And if black women find happiness with another race, I think that they should pursue that as well. But in terms of being perfect without failure, I think that a lot of us have recognized the failure that we have allowed to take place over the past few years. And that is really believing in you guys. Like really putting some stock and like some faith in you guys. The only thing that we really did was believe that if we quote unquote held y'all down long enough or stayed loyal to y'all long enough, that one day y'all will wake up and get the bigger picture. But when y'all did wake up, y'all woke up thinking that women of other races were better than us. Y'all woke up thinking that y'all could go and join another already made community. Y'all woke up thinking that you could ignore the damage and destruction that you've allowed to take place in your own community and just move over to another place that somebody else sacrificed and worked hard to create. So if we do have any failures as black women, is by not reading the writing on the wall far, far, far sooner and putting ourselves first and choosing better than to, date a lot of you guys. When y'all talk about on one of our videos, y'all mentioned that that is like 90% of black men are like low value or low earning or something, and almost every all of those 90% of black men have had a black woman to seriously be with them, maybe even have children with them. And we did that out of the quote unquote loyalty to you guys, when if black women had been thinking more clearly, we would not have allowed you guys to kind of dictate the direction of our lives, because we see that you guys aren't interested. No, don't spray it. No, this is not the top for this one. It's a different top. We gotta find it. Did you drop it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
We see that you guys aren't interested in building and creating and sustaining happy, thriving communities. And the only thing that I think black women failed at is believing that you guys will one day get it right. We could have come to our senses 30 or 40 years ago, and things would be a lot different now. Our children would have, college funds, and so many of us wouldn't be having to go and pursue, terminal degrees just to ensure that we'll be able to always put food on the table without depending on government assistance. So many more of us will have investments and things to pass down to our children if we had not been waiting on you guys to get it right. All right. Hey, she. I'm gonna drop the link. Y'all let me know if anybody want to come up. A lot of times they come in the comments with this crazy stuff because they want to try to deter the conversation. They want to try to deter the conversation. All right. But we stay on task on this side over here, and we're gonna continue to hold them accountable. And the last thing I said, oh, you guys are about to destroy your top players. See, one thing I noticed, I made this video and I'm going to put some of it up, but I put it unlisted. I made this video about 6 months ago. And hey, let me bring you up. I made this video about 6 months ago about the Negro manosphere. After Kevin had his explosion with the average at best girl, for about a month and a half, all of the conversation on YouTube seems centered around Kevin and the average at best girl, and rating Black women and trying to make sure that Black women, no matter how much education you had or how much money you had earned, that you were only as good as your looks. Okay, that if you had a child, then you were just basically unwanted, which I mentioned earlier is actually a protection to the baby daddy friend or brother that Black men have. But there was all of this conversation just dissecting the phone call that what's her name, Jessica, average at best. The young lady's name is Jessica. Jessica had with Kevin, and stemming from that conversation, everybody saw how Kevin had blown up from 200,000 subscribers to 800,000 subscribers after that whole thing kind of blew over. And a lot of the people in the community was talking about, they were jockeying for positions. They wanted to kind of place, rank themselves and know who was the top person in the manosphere. And if Kevin my baby is playing with his toy, and if Kevin was going to bring anybody along with him, who would it be, and what would the next phase look like, right? All right. So wait, hold on for 1 second, because I'm almost done shooting.
Okay.
So yeah, my baby right here, and I'm once you get started, I'm gonna do something real quick. But with all of the hatred in the Black manosphere, that is actually what's unraveling. That is actually what's unraveling, Kevin. And it's not so much. Okay, yeah, that it's not so much as the women that's pushing against it or the women that are criticizing him. It's the ideals of the Black manosphere. The ideals.
No, not that.
The ideals of the Black. The ideals of the Black manosphere are anti-family. They are anti-Black women, and the thing is that ideology. I'm sorry for all of this noise, y'all. But I gotta make my videos when I make them. Oh, baby. Okay, it's okay. I gotta be able to make my videos when I can make my videos. So hopefully you can sift through the little noise. But anyway, the ideology of the Negro manosphere cannot be a mainstream message with Kevin. And when I said that their hatred for women is what's undoing Kevin, in the beginning when Kevin, just after that average at best stuff, Kevin tried to change the tone a little bit. He was kinder, he was softer, he was like a little nicer. But then everybody in the manosphere started waiting for their shout outs. They wanted to know, when was he gonna speak this person's name? When was he gonna speak that person's name? When was he gonna mention the Black Manosphere as a quote unquote organization or something? And for a long time he didn't. And my video that I made that I'm gonna bring to the channel was talking about why he couldn't bring you guys on. But I think that what happened is because Kevin initially had a message about Black family, Black love. He wanted to try to bring Black people together. But after listening to everybody in the manosphere that was riding his coattails and pulling him down, he started shouting out different people and bringing them in, which also highlighted their ideology. So that's why I think Kevin had to like take a harder nosed stance and begin talking more about this other race of women, promoting other race of women, and continuing to like downgrade the Black woman, but then the introduction of the domestic violence, because that's something that the manosphere talks about a lot as well. And essentially that's going to be Kevin's own undoing, trying to bring those ideologies that can never go mainstream on his platform that was so very close to going mainstream. Um, and now we are at the point where we are considering federal legislation just to make sure that anybody who thinks that they are about to do some domestic discipline about some Black women or to some Black women will understand that we are not to be played with in that way. It was all fun and games when y'all was building y'all channels and making y'all money, and that was all good. But now that you want to bring in a public conversation about domestic discipline, which is actually domestic abuse, which is domestic violence, that's where we got to stop you at. All right. And like, that's when it's gone too far. All right. So, all out of all of I said, out of all that I've said, I really wanted to ask Oshay, because he has been making videos about this stuff and these petitions and stuff. I really wanted to ask Oshay if he's proud, if this is what he saw, if this is what he's happy with, if it was worth it, if everything that they did in the beginning to get the everything, the ball rolling on the manosphere and all of that type of stuff, if it was worth it, and if you guys are happy now with the image of Black American men. It's another person, Eat the Street, that came in. So thank you so much, and thank everybody in the chat and everything for sitting through my little long list. All right, again, if you have not subscribed and you're interested in subscribing to the channel, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I'm gonna go ahead and go on mute. And I want to give you the floor for you to speak your piece.
Okay. For one, technically speaking, if any man wants to beat on a woman or do anything in that ramifications, there's consequences behind it. And by that man knowing there's consequences behind it, it's up to him whether he does what he do it or not. You know. So if he's gonna punch a woman, 9 times out of 10 he's going to jail. Or he's gonna have backlash between family and friends. So he has to make that judgment call on himself. And letting someone like Kevin Samuels tell him to do that, if that is the thing that you're talking about, then that's the consequences behind it. I mean, at the end of the day, anybody do anything violent, you're going to jail behind that. Just as women have, we just seen where a lady hit a football player and knocked out his teeth. She didn't hit him with her fist. So, you know, during that situation, men, we sit back and we let women beat on us. We know we're stronger than women. We know we can hurt women at any given time. My wife, she said it before. If I hit her, I might knock her teeth out. But why do I need to hit her? There is as simple as just talking to you. If I can't talk to you calmly and we can't work that out, I don't need to be with you. And to understand that Kevin is talking about this, I haven't heard it. So you said it. it might be true. But the point of it is, leave the man. If you have a problem with a man hitting on you, just leave. I've never heard no. I mean, there's few women that have guns been put to their head, say that they will never leave. I can understand that, but pretty much, he's not around you 24/7. He has to go to work. He has to do something because most men who are productive and take care of their families, they're busy. So just leave. It's there is no burden. Just like women are talking about. I mean, just earlier when you were just talking about how the women were, going into the workplace, getting better jobs, and trying to get off of welfare and food stamps and stuff like that. When it comes down that, everything is a choice in the matter. Women, they can choose to stay on food stamps, or they can choose to be with a man. Pretty much when you're with your husband or any man, your boyfriend, or whoever you with, technically he's supposed to be the leader. And I say technically because everybody has their own ideology of what a man's supposed to do for you. So when it comes down to it, if you have a husband, you depend on your husband to pay the bills and be responsible. Now, there's some men that might not be that way, but the point of it is, why are you with them? That is your king. That's who you chose. If he's not doing what he's supposed to do, then leave. Nobody's forcing you to be there. I mean, just like I tell guys, you like girls with fat butts and they look good and you mess around with them just the same as those women who like men with big D's and a situation come around, you can't leave that D. Anything that comes to you, you deserve it. I don't have no problem with a man who gets a baby from a woman and get on child support and he say the woman crazy and he been with her for 6 years. She's always been crazy. I can understand some people snap. But to an extent, most women are always coming out crazy, just the same as dudes. Dudes, sometimes they snap, but the point of it is, he's always talked to you a little way that you didn't like. He's always grabbed you and told you don't say stuff like that again. You avoid the signs because your feelings get involved and you want to be with a person. And that's what ultimately get people hurt in relationships. You're forcing relationships when there shouldn't be a relationship. And that's the issue that we're having. Earlier, I was on a guy. I'm not going to say his channel name, but basically, it was a lot of men on the panel. There was one man. He was trying to tell another man that he needs to get married to build the community, the black community, and we need to find a way to stick together and get women to stay married and be on a certain code because he got a divorce. And just like the guy on the panel told him, every time he comes on there, he cry and he talks about women not being married and getting divorced and all this stuff. And like I explained to them, if a woman you marry, she should want to be married. She should want to have a husband and she should have some type of values for herself. If she don't have those values, why are you dealing with her? Because when I wanted my wife, I stopped dating random women. I stuck with her, just one woman, dealt with her, and then it worked out. That's what it was. When it came to other women that I was wanting to get serious, I only dated one woman. Same thing is for these women. They got to learn how to date just one man. Because there's a lot of foodies out here that go and get dates with dudes for food. And it's a fact. There's dudes who do the same thing. They know women pay, they play. So every time you pay, it's just like a man. When a man leaves with his wallet, he gotta always leave with his wallet. It's just like a woman. She leave with her purse. She's always gonna be paying for everything with her purse. So she can't get mad at the man one day and tell him to man up and be a man. And for the past couple of months they've been together, that's all she's been doing is buying everything, paying for everything, and getting a D at night, and she feel good about herself. So once again, like I said, when it come down to it, I told a guy, if men want to be in a relationship, you go find a woman that wants to be married and stay in a relationship. You got to ask questions: do a woman wants to be married long term or not? Same thing with men. Men, I mean, same thing with women. Women got to do the same. They can't just marry this guy, just on the premise that he look good, he's eye candy for her. She got to understand where this guy values are. That's the only reason I married my wife, because of her values. I mean, in this stereotype in black culture that we got to be the Beyonce and Jay-Z, the power couple. Why can't we just be the regular couple that's getting the job done? This
Um,
whole power couple. Go ahead.
she do
Oh, okay.
you are saying some good things. However, I'm gonna have to use the word of y'all community. It's a little disingenuous. Okay,
Uh,
once a woman has a child with a man, she usually doesn't want to leave him. All right, and that's how we have women who stay during hard times, whether things are getting a little rocky with how they communicate with each other or whatever, or the finances are getting tight, or he just becomes lazy and disengages. Like, women, more than you guys want to give us credit for, try to keep our families together. And a lot of these single mothers who are single mothers didn't necessarily want to be single mothers, right? They wanted to have their child and everything, but they wanted the guy to, step up and do his part. And like, that wasn't an option for them. It's not. Some guys, start off with all the I love yous, and we're gonna be together and stuff. And when the pedal gets to the metal and it's time for him to step up and step into his role, that's when he drops the ball. And in this community in particular, you guys have coddled so many men who drop the ball and giving them excuses and room to blame everybody else but themselves, that men don't even have to hold themselves accountable anymore. What's happening now is a lot of women are starting to be more vocal and hold these men accountable in ways that you guys should have been doing 30 years ago. It's no reason why we should have had 2 or 3 generations of single mothers in our black community. Like, the men should have been checked that a long time ago. Those baby daddies should have been ostracized a long time ago. You shouldn't penalize a woman for her body doing what it naturally does, and that's creating a child. What you should be doing is penalizing and ostracizing the men who drop the ball and who don't want to take care of their children. And that's something that a lot of you guys in this space do not want to take accountability and responsibility for, is that y'all are not stepping into your responsibility, and nobody else is holding you accountable to that. And you guys, it's easy to blame the woman, or it's easy to say just leave, but it's not always that simple and cut and dry for her. She's doing the best that she can do, and then y'all turn around and say that it wasn't good enough when you didn't do anything. And we can look outside. I always say we can look outside our windows. We can look outside our windows and see just how much of nothing you guys are doing. So it's like, it's time for black men to be honest now. Okay? And
okay.
like, stop with the garbage, because y'all are being very disingenuous.
Okay. So being
I
disingenuous, you
agree with
got to look
her.
at the fact of the matter. During the 70s and all those days, like counterproductively before I guess going into civil rights when they were doing it, men were taking women that had kids at an alarming rate. They were the ones that they were the first generation that was pushing dealing with single mothers and stuff. Back in the day, there were there were women that my grandmother had a child before she got married to my granddad. My mother also had a child, my older brother, before she got with my dad. So back in the day, that was heavily forced in the community to where guys do that. Once we
Yeah, but
got older,
they still weren't taking care of the woman because that happened with my mother too. She was married when she got pregnant. It was from a date rape, but it was like kind of looked down upon to be have a baby without a husband. So yeah, I get that. And then they pushed on the man with her. He didn't treat her right. He didn't do it right. And he didn't take care of kids. Even though
so
in the past some marriages may have been forced upon or pushed into, like the way you were saying, it doesn't mean the men took care of the woman. Okay,
but
because
that was the
he
thing.
didn't
Why
take care of his kids. Even though
why
he
did
married her pregnant, no, the men wasn't running streets. They remember there was no child support to hold these men accountable or nothing. They would just drop a baby and they just do what they do.
okay,
They
okay,
were
and
not
I
taking care
understand
of
that.
the woman. They were not taking care of the woman.
Okay, but this is the thing.
So
A woman has a choice to marry a man to say yes or no, right? So when
yeah,
this man proposes to be with you and not be there for the kids, don't that woman have a choice? That was the
that's
whole
what the
thing of the
young
feminist
lady was
movement was
saying.
about choice.
Listen, the young lady that spoke just before you, that's what she was saying. The women are being left with a choice where they got to be a single parent. Okay, that just like you just said. I'm glad you just helped her out because they're left with
I,
that. What I
yeah,
wanted
So
to
but that's
women
say,
being left.
what I wanted to say about, I just wanted to bring up this Kevin Samuels because
go
that's
ahead.
what I was waiting about.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
believe that the reason why he's getting away with talking about, women in particular, African American women.
Ooh,
So
Tabitha, your
that
audio went
because
out,
they
and
are
I want to hear this
hello?
amazing point that you're about to make.
Because they are the least protected. Black women are the least protected. That's why you get away with that. And when people tell me to call into a show, I'm like, hell no, I'm not gonna help him get content. Why would I call in? That's why I understand why the women call in. Because, he would be talking to himself. If it was up to me, I would encourage the woman not to engage with him because he's doing this at the expense of the black woman. It's bad enough that being black we have racism against us. We have a lot of things to overcome. But then when we have our own black men on public channels just talking negatively about black women all the time, I don't think that's helping the black community at all. And
But that's
they
the
go
same on
through all
both
of these.
sides.
Listen,
Energy
all I'm saying
for
is
black
then they
women
always
that
talk.
do that
They
though.
want to run. Let me just finish. They want to run, get here, there, and everywhere across the line, across the world. But they want to say, oh, it's because of black women attitudes. No, man up and just say you want to date interracially. Why you blame the women?
Okay, go.
Yeah,
I'll
these
let the
men,
other
these
dude
men,
go
these
before I
men.
talk.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
go
talk.
ahead.
Go ahead.
I, I don't think
Yeah,
that
those
the
men that date
interracial
interracially, that's how they feel.
Well, I don't think that the interracial dating is okay. Thank you so much, Woman Spirit. I'll post it right in 1 second. And thank you so much to the people who supported me the other day. Like, y'all know I'm just up in here trying to have the conversation. So thank y'all for telling me so much. Um, the interracial thing, I don't really think that's a viable option the way y'all got on the internet for the past 2 years talking like it was. And see, what happened is that black women heard y'all, and the whole world heard y'all, but black women heard y'all. So we know that now a lot of y'all want to date interracially, and we want y'all to go and do it. And as soon as we say y'all should date interracially, all of a sudden I've seen it in comments over the past few days from streams that I've been in. I was just in one with Annalicia, and uh, she was talking about black men dating out interracially, and here go all of the comments. Black men love black women. We want to be with y'all. We just want to be able to work with y'all. No, the hell you don't. Because for
Thank
the last
you.
2 years, y'all been saying that y'all the most desirable. Everybody want y'all. Everybody want to have sex with y'all. Everybody want to have your baby. Like y'all been saying all of that stuff. And now that we telling y'all to go on out there and get them women that y'all know that we already know wasn't thinking two snaps about y'all, and y'all know that they wasn't thinking about y'all, and y'all know that they wasn't a viable option for y'all. Y'all want to come back and tell black women that y'all love us and that y'all want to be with us, and it's too late now. It's too late now. It's a million
And
subscribers.
don't forget.
Too late.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but don't forget how they tell the black woman nobody else want them. They go
Yeah,
around talking about, yeah, none of the other races want you, or if you have a child, you worthy, you use good, you just good to just F on all sorts. It's just very derogatory, and it's a bad thing. It's a double word, just like you were saying. One minute they love the black women, but then they talk about them. Hello.
okay, I'm sorry. Well, ear to the street. I think he might have just dropped off. I'm gonna give him a second to come back. I'm sorry for like butting in, but I'm like kind
No,
of
please do.
I'm kind of like I'm listen, I've been on one for a few days about this. And like I said, I have a few weeks before I go back to work because you know, I don't want to tell all my business on the internet, but I'm going back to work for a couple weeks. And when I go back to work, then my schedule is going to change. And I wanted to have these conversations. That's why I'm trying to like get the ball rolling on the conversation. But the black men have like selective amnesia. They want to act like they forgot about all of the stuff that they were saying just last week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Stuff
before,
they're doing.
yeah, before this petition kind of came out, they was on something else. And now that we saying, hold on, we don't have to settle for the BS. We don't have to go along with the get along anymore. Somebody saying that that they not finna go for this, and guess what? I agree, and I'm not finna go for it either. And guess what? We are not finna go for it either. And now all of a sudden,
No.
black men are trying to change their tune, like we didn't hear what y'all was saying last week. We heard what
Yeah,
y'all was
we've been
saying.
hearing it the whole time. You know
Yeah,
what
we heard
else they're
what
out
y'all
there
was
doing? You know what else they're out there doing to the black women? They're
saying.
going on welfare, getting food stamps for the for the children that that they have to pay child support with. They don't, even if they're in a rear or they don't even live with the child, they're going actually to food stamps and get for the children. That's
The
another thing that they're doing.
the guys are.
Getting food stamps for children that child support they have to pay for.
Mm.
That the agency they're giving them food stamps. So this is why some of them are not working, or some of them are not. The child support is not getting paid because the welfare is paying them to stay home. They're getting food stamps for children that they do not live with.
Mm-mm.
I,
And,
I didn't know. I didn't know about that. You know how they're giving the children the pandemic cards, the food stamp cards for school. What
mm-hmm.
happened was I had called to find out, how come I didn't get the card. Then I found out that, my ex-husband somehow was being, the food stamps. I said, food stamps, which is why they didn't send me the pandemic card, because otherwise I wouldn't have been eligible for the food stamps. But what happened was I found out about that. I said, how could they give him this when he owes me all of this child support and he's not even paying, the way he's supposed to be paying? And then I found out that the men are being collect food stamps for the children if they have to visit the child even one day in a month. So
Oh.
this is why they're all out there fighting the women for custody and everything like that, because they're doing it for a fair check.
And you can't
Who's that?
tell me that's not
Like,
pathetic. Ear to the street. I'm so sorry for talking over you before when you were up on the panel.
it's
Um,
so,
Tabitha, if you don't mind, I want to give. I'm gonna mute myself just so I don't butt in ear to the street. But I
I,
want to give you an opportunity to say what you wanted to say.
I just want to say I don't get how, like, just now, Tabitha. I'm not trying to take a shot at you, but listening to what you said, you talking about your child's father. You keep saying
It ain't
them
only him.
and
It's
they.
not only
You
him. I
saying
gotta let the black women know what's going on
only said
because I
like
didn't
five
know that.
words and you
I
already
didn't know
going.
that the men could get
You
food
gotta let me
stamps.
talk. You gotta let me talk. Like, you spoke for like 5 minutes. Let me talk.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, like, again, like, but my thing is, like, even if you know 20 men, 50 men, 100 men, how many black men are in this country? Like, you and they keep saying, like, you speak as a whole, like all black men, all black men do this, all black men do that. Even when y'all was talking about Kevin Samuels, you keep saying they, them, the manosphere, nobody specific. You can't keep, that's bad on black men. The same sons that y'all are raising, your brothers, your fathers, your uncles, these are the same black men that y'all talking about. So you can't take the bad ones out the group and keep pushing the narrative that those represent black men. Now,
Well, I didn't say all men.
should black men speak up and speak against other black men? Hell yeah. But black men do that all the time. It's, in my opinion, it's black women who got this like code with each other that you can't even construct, like, give out constructive criticism, or it's like you hate. I hear black women say it all the time. I can't say nothing to this chick. This chick is gonna turn into a fight. And that's what our culture has turned into. Y'all been checking men since I was a child. I'm 40 years old. Since I was a little kid, it been shows, Ricky Lake, Donahue, all of these shows is talking about black men and black women sitting right up there co-signing all of it. Where's these shows that talk about black women? And soon
I
as men start to speak out, this is you want to cancel them.
listen. That's a
And I don't
stereotype.
co-sign.
That
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
sorry, I
Just let
thought you was
me say this
finished.
real quick. I don't co-sign beating on women at all. But I watched that clip and I could have sworn in the clip he said that's like something that him and the woman do together. It's not like a one-sided thing. The woman actually agrees to that love tap, whatever they call it. I'm not into that. But that's what they do. But when I'm listening to it, I heard him say the woman was consenting. So what's your problem with her being cool with what they do in their relationship?
Okay, let me
Well,
go ahead
oh,
and
okay,
step in here. Thank you, Tabitha. I want you to pull up in the rear, okay? As soon as I get done with this, I
okay.
want you to give them the knockout punch, okay?
Yeah,
Because
because I gotta tell. I gotta
Nah.
speak on that. Go ahead.
okay. See, the thing is that one of the reasons why I had to create the petition, and I don't want the conversation to only be circling around the petition because it's more than the petition for me. Like I said, the federal legislation is where I'm going with it. But one of the reasons why I had to um, start the petition is because there is this quote unquote, the word of y'all community. There is this disingenuous sentiment from dialogue coming from men and being directed towards women. Next week, I'm gonna go through that video where the domestic
Mommy, this.
okay. Why you do that, baby?
No, Mama.
Okay, I'll fix it.
No, Gigi.
No, you did that.
No, Gigi.
Okay, baby. I'm gonna be going through that domestic discipline video and kind of dissecting it a little bit. But the reality of that conversation was there was a conflation between two different ideologies, and one of those ideologies did hinge upon mutual consent from the woman and from the man. But the other piece that was associated with that ideology that Kevin shared was just straight up domestic violence. All right, there was conversation circled around the fact that men respect men and men know out in public or men know in their general interactions that they cannot be disrespectful or speak disrespectfully to another man and think that they won't have to fight that man. Kevin went forward to say that women need to have the same what's the word? I can't think about it, but women need to have that same understanding when they are speaking disrespectfully to a man or considering, speaking disrespectfully to a man. If a man knows that he can't speak disrespectfully to another man without a fight, a woman should also know that she can't speak disrespectfully to a man without a fight. So then he got into the conversation um, about the girl being on one and just continuing to talk to him when she had annoyed him, and he gave her the safe word, and she still pressed on with annoying him. And then he said, "So now you know what it is. You got to bend over my lap and whatever it is." Right? Those are two different things. There is this BDSM element to domestic discipline, but what Kevin described was a woman being disrespectful to him and meeting the same fate that a man out on the street would meet if
Wait,
he.
wait, wait. Can I jump in right there? Can I just? I
Yeah.
don't think I perceived it way different.
Well, that's
I,
you.
but let me try. Can I give you a different perspective?
Oh
I
yeah.
the way I the way I saw it was he
Hold
wasn't
on,
saying that a
before,
in the
before you,
is
hold on,
scared
hold
like
on,
won't get
hold
beat
on,
up.
hold on for 1 second, ear to the street. Because
Okay.
before I block, and you know this, I want to make sure it's known that y'all talk about men taking care of the household and women taking care of the children. And that's what I do. My man works, you know, 12 to 16 hours a day, okay? And he's at work right now. And when he's not at work, I have the kids. And so, I mean, when he is at work, I have the kids. So he's at work right now and I have the kids. So that means that my kids are right here next to me. And if that's a problem for people like, and you know this, and Thought Rescuer, you don't have to be here, all right? Because wherever I am, my babies are right here next to me, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and usher y'all out. Y'all have a good day, and y'all can come back with another fake profile and try again in a little while, all right? Sorry for interrupting you. Ear to the street, you can go ahead.
So, but like I was saying, a different way, like the way I saw it, was he wasn't saying that a woman should expect to get a beating or get into a physical fight with a man. What he was trying to say was women have no fear of men, no respect of men. Even though we are perceived as the stronger vessel, a woman will stand in the street and talk crazy to a man just because she knows that somebody else, another man will probably defend her. Another woman will probably defend her. The police are going to come arrest this man. So just general respect that men have amongst each other, because you know it can escalate. Women don't have that for men because our hands are tied. And again, in no way am I trying to say beat a woman if she is disrespectful. But you both gotta, if a man gotta always be a man and not beat a woman should control herself and not be disrespectful as well.
Maybe that's not what you're saying. Here to the street. But like me, you don't have a million subscribers. You don't have the minds and the hearts of a million people. Okay. So regardless of what you think and how you feel about it, what was said, what was said. And that's just the reality.
But he didn't say what you said though.
Well,
He said beat up a woman in the street.
we'll go through the video. Anybody else can look up the video. Just put in Kevin Samuels and Banana Split. You'll see it. You'll be able to hear it for yourself.
Yeah.
And you can make your own determination. From my side, as a woman, what I heard is that if I annoy my man or get verbally disrespectful to him, then he has the right to, you know, try to bend me over his knee and whip me with a butt. I mean, whip me with a belt. Okay. And
That was the other thing though. That was the consensual thing. If
no,
you
that
and your
was
man got that agreement, then that's between y'all.
the agreement element of it was from the BDSM element of it, but that's not what Kevin was speaking to. Kevin was speaking to disrespect from a man and disrespect from a woman. And if a man can fight a man for being disrespectful, what he was also saying is that a man should be able to fight or discipline a woman for being disrespectful as well. And see, I need for Black men to like expand or sharpen your critical thinking skills, okay? Because a lot of this stuff don't go over the head of women, but for you all, it goes over your heads, all right?
No, it's just that men are men and women are women. You see it.
I just want to say something. Okay. I want to say something about, you know, this word going back and forth about consent, you know, giving a man consent to, you know, beat you or, you know, to discipline you. No. Okay. You don't have the right to assault nobody. And, you know, as you know, there are some women that are they're used to being abused in a relationship, you know, so telling me that they gave you consent is not going to do no good. And I'm going to say, because, you know, I'm a retired police officer. So if I came on the scene to a job and the man told me that she gave me consent to be there, you think I'm not going to arrest him? No.
What if
You
she
don't.
tell you that though? What if
No, you
what
can't
if the
tell me she
woman
gave me
tells you that?
consent. No, you cannot. Like if I came to a scene, I seen a woman with a black eye, visibly.
So what if the man
No,
got
you
the
can't
black
tell me
eye?
that.
What
Huh?
if the man got the black eye? She going to jail?
Either one. If she
Right.
listen, the woman don't have the right to assault the man. The man does not have the right to assault the woman.
I agree.
Assault is assault. And you
But
have
if
to
two
also
if two consenting
understand
adults
that
is in
some
the
women are
house,
used to being abused.
I mean, if two
So,
people,
you
I
know,
think what
they,
this guy, I
some
think what this
women
guy
is
coming.
not, you know, they're not in the right mental state to give consent. So I'm not to a scene and hear this either from a man or woman, whichever way you want to flip it. They're not going to be able to tell me that, well, they need to consent to.
Like I said, I'm not into
It's
that.
kind of like this from what I'm hearing from the brother.
Okay,
What's up,
so that's
Goldie? How you
transparent
doing?
because
What I'm
and another thing
what
I
I'm hearing
wanted to
from.
say, I wanted I wanted to also say, this stereotype is just not accepted. Where they're saying, well, if the woman get in your face, then do it like you would do a man if he was to get in your face. I didn't
Yo, you
personally
keep
hear the
changing up what he said. Yeah, that's not what
No, I
he
want.
said.
All right, listen.
Hey, let me say
Also,
this part real fast. Let me say this part real fast, right? What I'm hearing from the brother is this, right? He
some
pretty
of
much
that.
saying, family
Let me
business should
finish.
be
Let me
family
just
business,
finish this
right?
part. Let me just finish
I
this
can
part.
barely hear you. I can barely hear you, man. Your shit breaking up. That's why I'm talking over. I
Can
can't
you
even
hear
hear
me?
you.
Can
Yeah,
you
you
hear
better
me?
now. You go. You good. You good.
Okay. What I wanted to say was that when they're talking about disciplining these women, right? Because they just say the word women. What woman are they talking about? What race of woman do you think you know is going to be okay to discipline them? Are you talking about Black American women, white women? Are you just talking about any old woman? Because we know you're not going to be just going around, putting your hands on white women, other race of women like that. So I mean, what woman are the men visualizing when and if he is saying this?
I don't agree with that. Period. Like I can't even answer that question. Just beating on women. That ain't my job. So like abusive men, that type of shit. Like,
All right, domestic
What I'm hearing,
violence just should not.
what I'm hearing from the brother is this, right? You got things that take place in people's houses. It should be just their business and no one else's, right? But when it come down to this whole domestic violence and this domestic discipline, it is a very much a blurred line. Okay. The thing is the whole consent thing, right? It's pretty much a woman saying, "Hey, man, you know what? You can't do this to me if I do get out of line with you." But then you got women dealing with domestic violence situations, right? Who would still stay in that same relationship if a dude put his hands on her without her consent. You know what I mean? And that's more effective. It's like you whooping your child's ass, without their consent. You whooping them because they did some shit, and they don't want to catch whooping, but they're gonna get it anyway. You get what I'm saying? So, but in the case of Kevin Samuels, everybody know I don't even fuck that nigga like that. What he's trying to bring in is this, you having the ability to whoop your woman's ass though, and now you doing it in a more of a reserved, more of a polished type of way, right? You're not being so sloppy like Ike Turner with the shit, right? So now, okay, she do something you don't want her to do. She disobeyed you. She disrespected you, right? Now we gonna 50 Shades of Grey her ass. Hey, see what I'm saying? And now that's gonna go from there to now you become an Ike Turner eventually. Kind of like how a guy is in the beginning when he gets a chance to know a woman. He ain't abusive in the beginning, but then 2 or 3 years later he beating your ass type shit. That's what I'm getting from this whole Kevin thing. It's like you eventually want black men to whoop ass, but not so soon. And you got to kind of like get her used to you spanking her on her butt with a belt or let alone with your hand or with a paddle, so she can get used to the notion and idea of you whooping her anytime she step out of line. You see what I'm saying? So it's going back to the days when your granddaddy was whooping your grandmother ass. That's all he did. He beat the shit out your grandmother, man. That's understood. And everybody in the neighborhood saw the shit because everybody else was beating a woman's ass too. So no one stopped it. You know what I mean? Y'all
Going
got it.
from one extreme to the next. I agree with you.
I mean, yeah, that's what we're getting from that whole Kevin Samuels deal, right? And my thing, I don't 100% agree with. I think that if you get to the point where you have to whoop your girl's ass, man, you need to get the fuck away from her, dog. Because there's no
I,
respect there. You see what I'm
that's
saying? Go ahead.
I agree. You ain't supposed
Yeah.
to have to beat no woman, nigga. You gotta walk away and figure like that.
Yeah, yeah. But even in the whole emasculating thing, right? If you got a woman who got a mouth, a sharp ass mouth, right? A sharp tongue, you shouldn't even have to put up with that. See, I think a lot of black men, they are so afraid of losing a woman. They get so caught up in love. They get so caught up with the idea of having a woman and getting their heart broken, shit like they don't want to get their heart broken, right? To where they so afraid of losing. Nigga, you're not really supposed to have a woman if you can't get rid of her. That's the reason when I deal with women, I deal with women I can get rid of. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of black guys don't want to. I'm not gonna say they wouldn't want to adopt that mindset, but it's kind of hard for you to really show them how to actually go about doing it that way. So therefore, you have peace in your life as a man. You get what I mean? I got
Yeah,
it.
I think that there's not enough men raising men.
That
Niggas,
too.
niggas getting raised by women and they emotional and they don't know how to handle certain situations because they've been taught how to handle it, how a woman would handle it.
But that could be true. That could be true. But I think as you get older, when you realize the law of the land, then you know exactly what not to do.
But a
So
lot
the
of time,
same.
by the time you get older, you
Mhm.
already made a lot of drastic mistakes. A lot of dudes ain't making. A lot of these young kids ain't making it to get older now because they
No,
don't
we
got
talking
that.
about no. I'm talking about getting older, like in your 20s and 30s, right? So when you become an adult, to where even though I was raised or you was raised by your mother or your grandmother, right? That you still know the laws and the rules that I can't break these laws because I'm so called mad. So like the court is not gonna give you the excuse of being raised by your mama. All right. So if you beating ass like that, you whooping a woman's ass, let alone if you committing robbery or you committing murder, your ass gonna go to prison for the shit. You gonna go to jail for it. So like this whole thing I hear guys when they say, these guys wasn't raised with no daddies. So the fuck what? We talking about when you get to a certain age, it don't even really matter if you had your dad in your life or not, because now you are now a man. And now you have a chance to be what your daddy wasn't, especially when you have kids with a woman. So now you're gonna make sure that your kids gonna have a father for the fact that you didn't have a father, and the fact that I'm around in this environment, I'm not become victim of these circumstances that I can typically avoid if I want to. You get what I mean?
Yeah, that's a fact. I agree.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
I agree. All I was saying was
Yeah,
keep saying by the time you get to a certain age. And my point is a lot of
yeah,
times these men, young men, are having kids before they reach that age. They doing
true.
certain things in life before they reach that age that you're talking about. So the mistake is already made. And now they gotta catch up. And I
What
ain't
mistakes are you talking about per se? I want to get understanding. What mistakes?
a lot of mistakes. Like if you young and your mind is not in the right place, how can you stay with a woman and raise a kid?
If you're young and your mind's not in the right place, then why are you even pursuing a woman at that point?
Is that? I mean, I hear you, but is that like what you see nowadays going on?
I
Or
see a bunch of.
having children.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, like, do you not see 15 and 16-year-olds running around here having sex?
Oh no. You talking about relations, like having sexual relations
Yeah,
compared to like you having a woman?
you know, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I said, like, if you having kids at a
Yeah.
certain age, you not at that age you're talking about. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
you already made a mistake that you. I just said that everything you just
That's
said.
not really a mistake though. Hold on. Hold on. You talking about having a baby is not a mistake.
If you 15, 16, even 19 years
If you
old, that
15,
might be a
16, even
mistake.
19, and you having sex, about right, she's supposed to get pregnant if you're doing it right.
I hear you, man.
No. I hear what you're saying though. I want you to understand what I mean though. Like these words we use, the mistakes and all that. If you fucking man, you supposed to have a baby. We supposed to like have sex to procreate, not to not for recreation. I think we use it for recreation to where when we get a woman pregnant, it's like, well, damn, I made a mistake in getting her pregnant. Nah, you did the right thing.
All right. You did the right thing at
If
19.
if it if
That's what you
19, if you
supposed to be
fucking
doing. And you
what's
contradicting
up?
what you just said.
You tried to what?
I say you contradicting what you just said. You just said when a man gets to a certain age, he's supposed to not be able to make these mistakes.
Yeah,
And
when
I
you get
said
to a
I
certain
agree with
no,
that.
when
I'm
you say
saying that
mistake, all right, no, the mistakes I was talking about is if you having babies and you're not being a father in your kid's life. Those
exactly.
mistakes.
So let me
But
ask you
not
a
not
question.
actually
Let me ask
having
you
a
this.
baby though.
What age? What's the age you talking about? What's the age?
I'm talking about you old enough to be aware of what you're doing
But yeah, but what's the
as a
specific
person, right?
age? Give an
All right,
age.
I'm gonna say in had though, let's say 20, 21, around them ages, right? But
Okay.
even if it's before, even if it's 19, right, you still consider being an adult. And if you actually having sex, okay, the result of you having sex is actually getting a woman pregnant, getting a girl pregnant. That's not really a mistake because you had sex. Now you wouldn't have a chance to get her pregnant if you didn't
So
have
if it's
sex with
not
her.
a mistake, what would you call it?
I would call it natural. That's life. That's a cycle of life. The
And
mistake
that's
is no
something
mistake. It's
two
no
19
mistake
year olds
if you
should be
haven't.
doing.
Let me show you what I mean. If you are having unprotected sex and a woman get pregnant, that wasn't a mistake for her getting pregnant at all.
What's gonna come after that is definitely a mistake. They should have definitely been wearing some type
Only
of
if you don't
but
only if you feel like that he don't want to necessarily support her and the baby. Then yeah, that would be a mistake on his part.
both of them. What if she not ready for kids?
But
19.
it'll be a mistake on her part too.
You got kids?
Yeah, I got two.
And are your kids in the age where they can have kids right now?
Nah, they 12 and 10, so now they young.
All right, I got 3 sons, right?
Okay,
One's 20, one's 16, and one's 12.
okay,
Two of my sons is in the age bracket where they could start having kids. If
true.
they were to have kids right now, it would be a mistake. And that's what I teach them.
It might not be the
That's
right.
not
I
what
think
can they offer? What can they
what I'm saying, the
offer a
words
child?
you're using, the
What
word
can
no
they
no.
offer a
If it's
child
a
right
result,
now?
if your son's out there getting pussy, think about this shit, and they get a girl pregnant. That's not the mistake. Now, if you saying okay, well, the best choice is to abstain from sex if you're not ready for the baby or STD. So, see, if you don't want to be dealing with those type of situations, right? Then don't have sex. Period. But if you having sex, it's expected for you to actually get a woman pregnant. And if you get her pregnant, that is not a mistake in itself. Now, the mistake will come if you don't want to take care or deal with the baby. Now, you making a mistake by neglecting the baby, and she's doing the same thing, right? If y'all
You
abandon the
playing
baby,
semantics. Even if both of them put in 100%,
no, I'm
they
not. I'm
not
not
gonna be
playing
able.
semantics.
They
I'm
not
not.
gonna be able to offer that baby. Two 19-year-olds cannot offer a baby.
In the case
Or
of two
two
19 year olds,
28-year-olds, or two 38-year-olds, or two 48-year-olds could offer that baby.
in
So
the
it is.
case of two 19 year olds, realistically, right? Let me show you something, right? Two 19 year olds can still get a job if they want to. All right. Let
Uh,
alone they
and with
will have
education,
family.
they
They will
have
have
to
family.
make a family, bro, and buy a
No, no,
house.
no. They will. No, no, no. Them two 19 year olds will still have family support too. It's not like a family abandoned a 19-year-old with a baby. They don't.
How do
Not in
you
most
know
cases.
everybody's situation is
I
like
said
that?
not in most cases. Not in most cases, dog. 19-year-olds
Nah,
gonna be
bro,
abandoned
you
by.
bugging, man.
I'm not bugging on
As
this
many
part.
single mothers
I'm
as
telling you
it
this
is
based
out
on.
here.
Can I
I'm,
interject here for just one
go
second?
ahead. Go ahead. Mhm.
I think what's going on in this conversation is one of you are saying that you are responsible for your decision and your decisions and your choices, and you should be accountable to them. And the other one of you are saying that there's some leeway to be irresponsible, and you know
Who sent
that's.
leeway to be irresponsible? Me?
I think that that's what I'm hearing from you.
That's
Like,
not what I said. What I
hold
said
on
was
for one second.
if a
Hold on for 1 second.
19-year-old has,
Hold on, ear from ear to the streets, because I heard you say about your children and how they are at the age where they can have children right now. And if they did have children, it would be a mistake. But it
that's a fact.
really is not a mistake.
But
It's a
how is that
choice,
giving leeway though to anything?
because for you to say that if they had children now, it would be a mistake. It's not
That's
a
a fact.
mistake. It's a choice that they made. And when you teach
I
them
don't
that,
disagree. That's what I'm saying. I
and when
think
you
yeah,
teach
I
them,
didn't I
you
didn't I
teach
didn't
them,
say that.
hold on, ear to the street. When you teach them that if they were to have children right now, then it is a mistake, then you're giving them room to be unaccountable for their decisions and choices that they're making right now.
If I'm telling them not to have kids because that would be a mistake, how is that giving them
Is
room to make the mistake? That don't make sense. Me not talking to them and telling them that would ruin
because you making it
what they
because you saying if they had sex and had a baby as a result of having sex, you saying like that's the mistake, not
But I'm
you
not
see what I'm
telling
saying?
them to get a girl pregnant, don't take care of your
No,
baby.
you're not, you
That's what
probably
you're
won't be
trying to
able to
say
tell your
that I
son.
said though, and I never
No,
said that.
I'm not saying that you telling your sons to get a girl pregnant and not take care of the baby. I didn't say that. I
Both
said
of
that
y'all
that would be
just tried to
the
say I
only
gave
no.
leeway for that type of action.
What I'm telling you, bro, is that's the only that would be the only mistake is if your son got a girl pregnant and he didn't want to fuck with the baby. That would be the mistake right there. It wouldn't
No,
be the
no, no, no,
baby.
no. I disagree. If
All
my
right.
son, if my son gets a girl pregnant right now, he
Uh
can't
huh.
continue going to school and graduate college. He got to
Why
stop
couldn't he?
doing that.
Why couldn't he?
He got to go and take care of a family.
Not. I mean, he can still do that, but why wouldn't he be able to still go to college? I'm confused. How like
He could probably try to juggle both and all of that. Yeah. But that's gonna make life harder.
But
it's not
Even
gonna
if
make
he
life
do it, it's
harder.
gonna
Like
make
I'm
life
confused
harder.
about the
it's
So
baby.
gonna.
I'm again. Hold on. Let me just say
Let me
this.
let me say this
Again,
part though, because like you
that's not
confusing your
leaving no
son. You gonna
leeway
confuse your son with that because,
going
like I
back.
told you, man, 19-year-olds still have if they have an intact family. You best believe the family will help him with the baby until he can do for himself. So if he's going to school,
Of course they
I don't
are,
know how
but
your
that's
rules
still
are.
gonna
Your
make
rules may
their
be a little
life
more strict.
harder,
Hold
man.
on, listen to what I'm
You
saying, man. You may
gotta
be a
just
little more strict than the average person, right?
nah.
But if your son is showing good faith, let alone the mother of his child is showing good faith that they actually want to go to school and make something of themselves, they will get help from family with the baby when it comes down to them actually having a chance to go to school
Is that
and
gonna
come back
be
and
easier
tend to the
or
baby.
harder to do?
It's not gonna really be
Should
that
they
hard.
have
It's
the
not
kid
gonna
at
the baby
19 or
really
wait
the
till they
baby never really
graduate?
been a problem though. It's really been a relationship between the mother and the father. It really never really been the kids though, man.
Let me
Not at
ask you
all.
a
Like
question.
having a baby
Should
is
they wait
never.
till they should they have kids while they in college at 19 or should they wait till they
I
graduate?
mean, that's that's
Yo,
that's
let me
that's
finish
if they
talking. Like you
that's if they
listen.
don't want to have sex. Now, if you telling them not to have sex and abstain
You're
from it,
not answering my
then
question, bro. And
all right. No, I'm
I'm
answering your
saying
question.
things
What I'm
like
saying to you is this, right? That's what I'm saying to you. If they not
nah,
gonna
you're
have
not
sex,
answering the
if they
question.
not gonna have sex, dog,
I,
if you're not gonna encourage them to not
answer the
have
correct
sex,
question though. Like I
this is what
asked
I'm
you the
trying to
correct
tell you though.
question.
This is what I'm trying to tell you on this part right here though. If
Nah,
you're one
man.
of them type of fathers like how my daddy was, right, when you was encouraging your sons to get pussy,
Nah,
all
man.
right then, well, it's not gonna be a mistake
When
if I
did
get
I
a girl
say that?
pregnant.
See, that's
Now,
what I'm saying. When did I say
if
that though?
I didn't say
When
you
did I
are, and
say
I'm
that
saying
though?
if I
When did I
said
say
if,
that
nigga,
though?
can you hear, nigga? It's
Okay, okay.
Can
You
if,
know
you
if,
what?
hear,
if.
You
nigga?
know
You
what?
deaf.
You
You
know what?
talking shit I ain't even
No,
saying.
I'm listening to you now. I said
And I'm
if. I didn't
sitting
say
here
you did say
listening,
that
letting
though.
you talk.
All
Okay.
right, no, I said
Okay, let me do it like this. Okay. Because one thing I really want us to do is to be able to have a conversation. Okay. And from what I'm seeing right now, I think we might need to calm down just a little bit. It seems to me that ear to the streets is not allowing himself to receive any information right now. Maybe you feel attacked, ear to the streets. If you feel attacked, sorry for that because we're not trying to attack you, okay? Or I don't believe Rude is trying to attack you. But it seems like you're defending your position instead of allowing Rude to kind of elaborate on his point so that you'll understand where he's coming from. I kind of understand where Rude is coming from because it seems as if you are kind of making room for excuses or not taking full responsibility. When I was in college, there were 19, 20, 21-year-old couples together with a baby that they created while in college, and mom and dad both managed to graduate and take care of the baby at the same time. I think that there wasn't room for excuses for either one of them at that time, so they made sure that they accomplish the goal that they set out to accomplish. All right. So that's just what I saw in in my own life, and I know that that's possible. I just want to give you and Rue just a second to like kind of reset, and I'm gonna bring Chaos Rain up. Um, Chaos, I guess you have something to say to me. I don't know, for sure. I don't understand why.
Well, I want to add on to the conversation, but let these guys continue, please.
No, I'm gonna give you space to speak if you have something that you want to add.
All right. Do I have background noise
No, I
before I
think
speak?
it's fine.
All right, good. Um, I'm hearing the brother talking about these young teenagers that still having kids. I'm not sure if that was the conversation earlier, but I only remember that back over 20 years ago. Now, for the last 13 years, maybe, it started to dip and decline because we gotta be remember that we're not having babies like that. So all the time when we have this conversation, we really want to look at holistically is when we're older now as people, because people are getting wiser. Some people don't want to do it because one is a financial burden and is time burden as well. So I know the so-called has been talking about these women that's having children that's young. It's out there still, but as you look as time progresses, it's slowly dipping. And Goldie, do you know what the average age now for women that's having children in America for the first time?
No, what
You know
is
the age? The age right now, besides the updated census now this year or last year, is 26.8
okay? That's
all across the board. Now, they don't really speculate race, but we said it's across the board. That's the average right now.
hmm
So people are somewhat a little wiser in regards to going to family planning or start family. But like I said, with this petition, I gotta see what's going to happen because I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people start creating alternate petitions now lately. And my thing is this: you gotta have money if you're gonna push anything, especially in the system. They'll look at it, but when they talk about the corporation side and their bottom line, they're always gonna go back to their best interests. And since we as black people are only what, 13, 14% population, they always look at the bottom line. Are we put into a lot of these social medias in numbers, in money? And the answer is not really no. So they'll still entertain us for now. But we wish like I said, I like to sit back and see what's gonna be the outcome of this. Because I always look at the business side of things. Because
Is it me?
Yo, hello, hello.
my
Yeah.
mic. Let me jump back down because somebody interrupt my feed. I'm gonna come back.
Okay.
No, I'm just here. I'm here.
I think Chaos, make sure you do come back up because I would like to hear what you were saying. As for the petition from my perspective, like I said, I'm interested in the enhancement for sentencing. And like that's my ultimate end goal. If Kevin is removed from YouTube and Instagram, that'll be good. But if he changes his talking points and kind of atones with the black women in the community, that would also be a good thing. And that's also an option for him. But even in spite of that, my goal is an enhancement for the sentencing for domestic violence perpetuated against black women, specifically if I can get a caveat for black women. So that's where I'm going from it because see, for me, like I was saying in the beginning of this video, a lot of y'all think this is fun and games. And a lot of y'all are like playing with black women's lives. And I'm not going for it. And a lot of other women are not going for it. So y'all might have been like joking and thought that that was cute to talk about domestic discipline, which is actually domestic violence or abuse. Y'all might have thought that was cute or funny or a good way to get some attention to bring some subs or something like that. But I heard that black women's lives could potentially be in danger from intimate partner violence when I heard that. I didn't hear any jokes. It wasn't funny and I wasn't laughing. And since I heard what I heard and I know I heard what I heard and I can read between the lines whether we want to talk about quote unquote consent or not, I know what it is and we all know what it is. The 1,300 people who signed a petition, almost 1,400 now who signed a petition, know what it is. I'm pushing forward to the end for the legislation, and that's where I'm going with it. And it's unfortunate because black women are suffering at disproportionate numbers. I think we are the second highest racial group to suffer from domestic abuse or domestic violent crimes. And all that means is that y'all about to go to jail for a longer time. And yes, somebody, I think it was Base Kryptonian, was saying that black women don't push the sentencing or whatever to the end out of a desire to try to protect the black man, but we already know that the black man is not a victim anymore. Hold on, baby. My baby got his tablet. We already know that the black man is not a victim anymore, and he is making these. Okay, I'm gonna put it on. He is making these choices on his own, and he will be held accountable for them. So I'm sorry that these jokes and this fun stuff turned into, or could possibly turn into, longer sentences for those people who play those games. But that's just the reality from my side of it.
I hear you on that one. I didn't even want to take it off the topic, man. I don't know, we veered off a little bit, man. I can bring it back. All right, Goldie, everything straight.
I mean, I'm fine with the dialogue, but like we kind of got lost talking about sex and babies and stuff. And the points that I made at the beginning of the video, I just really wanted to know, and maybe you guys can tell me. I'm gonna I think ear to the street. You a hard headed little thing. You have unmuted yourself, okay? But I'm going to you know, turn the floor back over to you guys. But the reason why I started this broadcast was because I really wanted to know if those of you who follow Kevin and those of you who consider yourselves to be present or former members of the manosphere, if you guys are happy with what you guys have produced to this date. Like, are you proud of yourselves? I don't see anything to be proud of, but that's just
I
me.
don't.
And I'm
I don't. I don't.
if you guys, if well, I was really had the open video to Oshay, and like kind of the more prominent members of the manosphere. But I really want to know if this is what y'all are proud of, because it's not a good look to me. But I just wanted to know.
I don't. And no, I don't fuck with. I don't fuck with Kevin at all. Never did. I always been a critic of his, man, since 2018 when he was coming around in the manosphere spaces like that. So I never agree with nothing that nigga said. So this whole him being on some homo type, his behavior and shit like that. Yeah, folks used to defend that nigga against me. So especially when I was trying to break it down to these guys, hey man, this nigga here's not the one. Like you guys gonna see him in the next few years, and you're gonna see his agenda, and it's not gonna really be what you guys expected, right? But yeah, you guys already defended, so you're gonna be on record for it. And even Oshay, he's a staunch Kevin defender, and I think he's doing it now because of Kevin's position. He can't go against it, because now folks gonna look at him as a hypocrite, because folks gonna not call him envious and jealous of Kevin. You get what I mean? So right now he has to continue to ride for Kevin, because a lot of these guys deep down feel that Kevin will eventually open the door for them to go mainstream. So now going against him right now is really a bad thing to do. So I don't agree with Kevin at all, man. Fuck
Well,
Kevin.
What I was saying earlier about the mainstream desire, I know that there is a desire in the mainstream for most of the channels. I mean, in the manosphere, for most of the channels to go mainstream. But what I was saying in the beginning is that the underlying ideology of the space is so destructive that there's no way that that could be accepted mainstream. And I think that that's what's undoing Kevin right now. It's not necessarily this petition. It's his ideology. It's his own words. It's what he said himself. It's just that and other people just so happen to be speaking out about it. But it's the tone of the space that really just won't be accepted mainstream. So,
I want one question after.
mhm.
So I'm not sure if the ladies are gone. Only if you're up here, Goldie. What is the purpose? And this could be a very logical or interesting question. What's the real purpose of mainstream media? That's one question I want to ask ladies first. I don't want to ask dudes. I want to ask ladies.
In my opinion, first I wanna mention that this is a struggle channel that y'all on, okay? Because they've been coming at me, okay, talking about
Yeah,
my
but you got some audience now.
yeah, I know, right? So I want to shout out the 33 people that's here. I think this might be the most. Maybe we had 35 or 37 or something people in the chat. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please feel free to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. All right. They are gonna downrate my stream. So if you feel it in your heart, please give me a like to try to
No,
bounce.
don't worry about the engagement. The more once they give an engagement, that's gonna funnel the algorithm. That's
Okay.
why they give you the like and dislike. That's for those who want to be YouTubers.
Mhm.
It's always important that they give some form of engagement, because they have to send it through the feed. No
Okay.
engagement, depending on your channel strength, it will not be put to the feed. That's
Okay.
how I know that you're live and I'm a subscriber.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. Now, for me, the purpose of going mainstream, any ideology or belief or perspective or whatever, going mainstream is to kind of, um, um, I want to say like,
Come on, say what you feel. I want to hear what you think or
feelings.
feel, because we want to lay it out so that we're clear. Not just you, Goldie. I'm not pushing on you, but I just want you to think good on this. Any woman that's gonna come up here and ask, they need to really ask this question. But go ahead.
yeah, that's the reason kind of for the petition. There's so many different reasons around it, but it's to kind of promote an agenda. That's what mainstreaming is for, promoting an agenda. And that's why the petition had to happen, because the agenda of domestic abuse, domestic discipline, domestic violence becoming mainstream just cannot happen. It just cannot be accepted. It won't be tolerated. A lot of people will get hurt behind that. So that's why the petition had to happen. But from my perspective, the reason why mainstream is an ambition for so many different people, not just the manosphere only, but just different areas and stuff, is to promote an agenda. I don't know if Tabitha wanted to chime in with what she thought.
Is she up here?
Yes,
Yeah.
I switched my device to my computer. Well, basically, I kind of agree with a lot that you were saying about going mainstream. Mainstream is, to me, is reaching a bigger audience. To be able to notify other people, bring awareness to whatever you're trying to achieve is to bring more awareness. You you know get to reach more people. So that's what I think mainstream would be.
All right, excellent, excellent. And I guess only two ladies came up. I wish more women came up so they could tackle this question. Maybe the comment section, they will do this at the end, I'm hoping. But I'll give y'all a snippet. The purpose of a media or mainstream is to sell products and to advertise. Besides entertainment purpose. But that is the whole intention of it. And even go as far as create what we call propaganda. Remember, the forms of media that start waves is always what you see, then second what you hear. But the whole end goal is to make you spend money, which I had to come to grips and conclusion of it, because when we look at us as a people, and even a few people that were celebrities that tried to buy their own media outlets, is they trying to keep the control of where the money resource is going. That's the whole intention of it. It's a money grab. So when I look at anything that's being put out for our eyes or vision from any type of mainstream, I always got to think about the end game. How does this facilitate of me spending money, you putting this content out? Because I'm going to pull my wallet and spend money. You just don't do this for a reason. Not just us, but just regular media like the mainstream that we don't control. They do this and put these things out to keep us spending money, either with each other or without each other. That's why people don't understand the importance of actual black media. It is important to try to counteract any narrative and to push our own products and agendas. Now, because this is YouTube and we're only on this little small platform, that I'm hoping in time, because it's going to be a time that black people won't have to have our own anyway, that we grow something more out to this to span much further. Because at the end of the day, we only taking the opportunity now to push what we need to push, so that way if anything happens, the same crowd audience will flock and come over and anyways, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said before, that's the whole intention of media. You get me? I think it's gonna come to a point that, in my opinion, that a lot of us, even when I started doing this media for the last 2 years, have wasted the time opportunity on this. That this could have been much more better and greater than it should be, and we need to take it. But like I said, every person is different when they come and their agendas when they want to do content, not only YouTube but just in general. But I'm gonna leave the floor for anybody else to respond.
Well, that I like to just say, there's always like a danger in a single story. So also these outlets are also to get different perspectives out, to people, that the way people see things. This gives other people a chance to give their perspective, to let to see it from a different view. Just like when Goldie was talking, she had, she got a different perspective of what Kevin Samuel was saying in contrast to what the other gentleman was saying. And we need to hear those different perspectives. And I think that this helps put forth that out so you can see it from someone else's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So the media can help with that, as well as, like you said, selling products. So it's just whatever it is that you want to achieve. That's what it's, used for, and to try to build another audience, or, or whatever comes with it.
But speaking on the whole media and mainstream, right? This is why I disagree with a lot of black guys who are in support of Kevin Samuels, just because of him going at women the way that he's going at them. That's not the counter, right? Because you got guys mentioning what took place like 30 years ago, right? When women was getting on TV shows talking against the black man. Well, right now us like black men going at women in that same type of way is very counterproductive. Okay? Now, if you want to actually get back, if you guys really want to get back at the woman, you would become rich. Just that simple, right? You would empower yourself financially, economically, right? To where now whatever she's saying, Dusty calling you Dusty, broke, dominating all that, she can't speak to guys like you, or let's say just a nice percentage of black men in the country, right, who's competing with other races of men, right? That's how you counter the shit that you hear women talking about. This is the reason why I don't take offense when you hear women when they talk about the things that they don't like about black men. And if it's facts, it could be facts, right? So what am I going to do about that? What can you as a black man do about the shit? You can actually just become a powerful man yourself if you really put your mind to it. And that's how you're going to really quiet any black woman who have anything negative to say about black men, is you become that actual example of what black men are supposed to be and what they should strive to be. So if you got, hell, entertainers, all right, millions of dollars, right? They earning as we speak, right? All right then, well, can black women really talk about them other than their behavior or how they probably treat people? All right, but can they talk about these guys not being winners? Like what can a black woman say about even guys like Floyd Mayweather or like 50 Cent or Jay-Z? Like what can they say about them? Nothing. They can't say shit, right? If they was in the men's presence, that dusty shit does not apply to them, but it applies to the everyday blue collar, everyday brother who go to work, who is struggling to a certain extent, or who's trying to get on his feet. And then you trying to feel like you on some rich nigga shit at the same time, right? You trying to do what rich niggas do, and you're not really able to actually do it because of your financial situation. So now you run into Kevin Samuels because you think because Kevin Samuels got the little feminine swag to him. And you know how it is when niggas say, well, gay guys can get to the black woman better than a masculine guy because he's willing to do things that the masculine guy won't do. Well, nah, man. Kevin Samuels not going to be the answer. And you guys will see it, right? Once you realize that this guy, he's here for the profit, which he should be. He need to be here for the profit. But if you guys going to ride with that, you guys going to be led off a cliff, man. That's just my opinion. You got it?
See, I agree with what you was just saying, because that's why I don't listen to like Kevin Samuels, or I don't take what some of these guys be saying at face value, because I believe that there's a profit behind it. And that's what I was saying one time. Sometime when I go on some other platforms, I let them know, I said, this is all entertainment. You're looking to make money, sir. That's why, I don't just look at it like at face value. I just look at them trying to sell something so that they can make money, make the guys believe something. See, they'll tell you to treat the women all, messed up, but then they're going to treat their women good. They'll tell you they're not going to date a black woman with children, but then they'll go and date, a woman with children. So it's used as a tool to enrich themselves. You gotta understand, some people they're not doing things to try to help the community get better, to improve the relationships between black women and black men. No, that's not the goal. The goal is for them to make money. So you got to know when someone is doing something for self-serving reason. True. Or are they doing something, from a different perspective? And that's when I look at those things. That's why I don't really take that at face value. My nephew tell me, oh, go into it. I'm like, I'm not going on there. I'm not going to help them get no content. I'm not even going to engage in that because I don't think it's coming from a good space. You're not really trying to help them in. Okay? I would want all men and women to be in a healthy relationship if possible. Why would I go out there to spew hate? That's just gonna, antagonize one another, and just bring forth more misunderstanding, more miscommunication. So people got to understand the goal. Are they trying to make money for themselves, or are they trying to improve, relations?
I don't think they're trying to.
That's my thing.
All right, I'll tell you how to answer that. So I came back. The whole intention, especially using platforms like this, is to help make money. Kevin Samuels always said he wants to be filthy rich. I hope people didn't forget that. I hope that this is not some people heard about this. He's been saying this for years now. So the direction he's doing now, that's trying to fulfill that, he found a market that works. And I can't criticize it because at the end of the day, no one can really grow anything without people's participation. You get me? He tried with the men. The men were not buying it. And the reason why the men didn't want to buy it, because most men, unfortunately, don't want to improve certain image, which is sad.
But hold on.
Especially they get older, the image should be a little better. You know what I'm saying? And learn some things, but they don't want to do that. So obviously,
I disagree with that. I disagree with that, Chaos, man. Hey.
I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is what I've noticed, because he's been doing this for 3 fucking years.
Okay, well, let me come in for 1 second. I think that there was an intention to make money, and there still is an intention to make money, and a significant amount of money has been made. Okay, so I think that a wise business person can take the money that has been made and turn that into being filthy rich. Okay, but aside from that, to make money off the backs of one of the most vulnerable demographics like that we have is a lack of integrity, and it really is like predatory, if you ask me. A lot of those women who do go on the show and continue to make the show be what it is are women that are really hurting. Women that have been abused, women that have been misused, women that have been taken advantage of. And in one of my previous videos, we talked about social abuse, women who don't even know when they're being abused. And if we can feel okay with making money off off the most vulnerable of us, we really have to step back and think about who we are. Like, what kind of man are you? And for those of us who listen and follow along and support the ideology, you really need to be honest with yourself about what it is that you're supporting. If you're going to take a bunch of women that are hurting and abused and all of this type of stuff and further manipulate and abuse them, that's not anything to like be proud of just for material gain. Okay.
The women who. Oh, my bad. You got it.
No, I had somebody in the back. I think it was she that wanted to come up, but he stepped out. So y'all can keep going.
Okay.
I was just gonna say that a couple years ago, Kevin Samuels was focused on the corporate world and how Black men can do better in their corporate positions and move up within their company. And, a lot of the things he was saying could be considered anti-Black, saying, hey, you might have to get a haircut, especially if you're in a certain type of business, you're trying to get into middle management, upper management, you're trying to grow in your career. And a lot of people would say, well, I'm not going to change this look. I'm not going to do this just to push forward. But, ideally, that's great. If you can be who you are, you express yourself the way that you want and still move forward. But realistically, there is an ugliness in the corporate, platform, in business, in neighborhoods, just how we appear, how we smell, how we talk does have an effect on our own growth. And, I think exposing that, and he was very rude to men just for years before he ever started targeting women with his message. And I think, him being ugly, there's a realism to that.
It wasn't the same, all right, just based on me knowing him from 2017, 18, he wasn't as disrespectful when it come to men, right? Like, he wasn't judging or rating men. He was talking about the whole, Black men need to step up their wardrobe and things like that. And that can go without being said, because Black men, I mean, besides us wearing, let's say, the suit and ties, right? Like, Black men will get clean when it's time to get clean. It's not like Black men will go to an event raggedy like that. So Black men will spend money on a fit if he needed to, right? So we didn't need a Kevin to say a damn thing about that, right? But yet, okay, you got guys on here who's into fashion and guys who are into corporate America. All right, so you giving some pointers, cool. My thing is with the Kevin thing, a lot of Black men are they following him now because the women that call into Kevin's show, these are women who pretty decent looking for the most part, right? But yet these women wouldn't give certain guys a time of day. And now this is supposed to be poetic justice, right? For a lot of these guys. There's a whole bunch of guys who got rejected and curved, and it doesn't really feel good. So where now on a broad scale, right? now they getting rejected and they getting curved and they getting, talked about and shamed for their looks, right? The very same thing that made them feel like they was all that to where they can actually disrespect another goddamn man, right? Who tried to shoot their shot. So these guys are taking joy in that. And I've heard guys tell me many times that they smile, they smirk when they hear Kevin do his thing when it comes down to these women, because these women wasn't hearing nothing in high school, in college, and when they had, the looks before they got pregnant, quote unquote pregnant, and hit the wall and shit, right? And these women they thought they was just really high and mighty. And now it feels good to see them being knocked down a few pegs. And what I'm saying is, okay, the fact that Kevin was on some corporate and grooming, and fashion type shit, see, he's not talking about this shit right now. Like the whole time he's been actually doing his live streams, he's not mentioning colognes and suits as much. His whole message is to really talk that shit to black women because he really have a hate for them. Now, everybody who want to say that he was married, well, if you ever heard the word beard, well, that's exactly what he had. He had 2 beards. That's a woman who agreed to be with you to cover up the fact that you are a homosexual. And it's what it is. Now, for you guys who might say that, how do you know he's a homosexual? I don't know that. I'm going based on his behavior. And his behavior and how he acts towards women, it shows that, okay, well, you are anti-women. And in so many ways, that could mean homosexuality. Okay? The guys I know who would be around his age, right? Let's see, he's around 50, 51. Okay, you got brothers who in their 50s, right? These actors, these brothers who are considered to be decent looking, good looking brothers, right? They don't have hate for women like that. These guys actually are very good with women. And when they do whatever it is they do, right? They invite women to come. They need for women to come around. Now, it doesn't mean that you need women for everything you do, but to act like you just can go through life without a woman. I mean, what kind of rhetoric is that, right? In the case of Kevin Samuels, speaking on little boys being, squires, being sexual companions and all that. What straight man talk about shit like that? Even now he's on talking about the whole, domestic discipline, right? I mean, what straight man really talk about shit like that though? Like, what straight man is focused on trying to discipline a woman, and especially if he's good with women to where he can just leave a woman if a woman's really get out of line. Like the first time she do some shit that he don't like, he just leave her ass. So I'm saying like these things. So you got black men who are supposed to be heterosexual, men's men, y'all following a guy that your granddaddy wouldn't even approve of, and he would damn sure sit you down and ask you, well, why you following this fairy ass nigga here? What's the point of you doing that? Because of what again? Because not like he's teaching black men how to get real money, and niggas follow him because of that. He's showing black men that he can be the actual representative for black men, right? These same guys who are anti-effeminization of black men in Hollywood and all that, right? Against Tyler Perry and niggas wearing dresses and wigs and shit like that, right? The same niggas be following Kevin Samuels, and he's the same as these niggas in Hollywood. That's definitely what he's trying to be, a Hollywood type of guy. But yet his objective is to go at women when he can just avoid women if he don't really want to fuck with them. So if you guys understand that it is a money grab, right? Don't get caught up in this guy's message to where you believe he's going to be your Lord and Savior, the second coming of Jesus Christ for you guys, right? And yet he going to leave you high and dry once he get his bag and get the fuck out of Dodge. You know what I mean? Y'all got it?
Let's just say that maybe he doesn't leave you guys, those that follow him, high and dry. But let's just say that he makes all of the women who see guys who support him as defective in some type of way. For you to be able to follow along with the ideology and to support it and to like revere him in that way, it means that you really buy into that mentality as well yourself. And for quality women, that's just something that we will not associate ourselves with. And for those same quality women, we look up to men. We need these men to lead our households, to raise our children, to help guide us in our feminine essence and everything like that. So, knowing that that is who you have aligned yourself with, you've taken yourself out of, out of the running for so many different women who are seeking real masculine leaders, to their households, to head their families and, create their legacy within everything. So I really think that when I read comments like he's the savior and stuff like that, I wonder where that I have read those comments. Y'all should go through some of my comments on the videos and stuff, and just pay attention to the chats on other live streams. But I really think about, where is this man mentally and emotionally in order to be this affected by any man? And does he have any real genuine connections with men in his everyday life? Like, where is his father? Where is his grandfather? Has he created any relationships with strong men in his work, endeavors or anything like that? So it's really odd to see a man so aligned with an internet, sensation, for lack of a better term.
It's odd, but it's weak. It's weak.
Yeah.
It's very weak, man, to see that, because like every man's supposed to really create his own legacy. All right, you got guys who follow until they learn how to lead, but yet at a certain age, when you now start having children, and you got people looking up to you, well, maybe a lot of guys haven't had that responsibility to have people depend on you to really make the right decision in life, right? And it determines, you determine, if the flow of your family or the flow of your people is going to be positive or negative, right? But then now you just following a nigga and y'all 30, 40, 50 years old, man. That's not a good example for no young man. Yeah.
Well, you know what I find like very disturbing is like when you have to, in order for you to build yourself up, you have to break somebody down. I mean, that's disturbing to hear. Like, oh, the girl that didn't talk to me before, now that she has some kids, whatever like that, she don't look how she looked back in the days, and it gives me a pick you up. If that's a way to bring your self-confidence, that you're dealing with somebody with low self-esteem already, and that's like just disturbing. And I think the men that look at that and they feel the need that in order for me to build myself up, I got to break somebody down, and particularly Black women, they need to take a look at themselves, because I mean, nobody should have to do that in order to bring pride within oneself. Just like the gentleman was saying, what's his name, Rude MP?
Yo.
Like what he was saying, build yourself up, do things to bring yourself to a certain standard, be that, get an education or following your dreams, investing in yourself, whatever you got to do to build your self-confidence. Your self-confidence should not be coming from breaking someone else down, because that's a form of mental abuse that, and then you'll just go around. You think that type of energy would just stop just at that woman. No, this is how that person will go through life, thinking that in order for me to feel good, I got to see somebody, down in some type of way. And I sure don't want, my young sons, because I got 3 sons, I don't want my sons to feel like that in order for them to get confidence, they got to put somebody down. It's bad.
But
let me speak to something in the comments. One of the commenters said that most men aren't going to tell you if they listen to Kevin, and or even if they are followers of the menosphere. I know that to be true myself. And if that is the case, then that is even more evident that there's some real issue here. Okay. But for me, I tell my girls to stay away from red pillars and Kevin Samuels followers, listeners. We ask specific questions, and we know how to get to if they are Kevin Samuels listeners, or if they, are aware of or follow red pill ideology. We know how to get to the truth about that. And if we find out that you're a red pill, or that you listen to Kevin, like you're X'd off the list, you're blocked, like block, delete, never see again type thing. That's just the reality in the current dating market. And it speaks volumes to the supposed goal of bringing Black men and Black women together.
But Black women are the ones who go on his show every night. They're the ones who got his numbers up like this. They're the ones that give him the content.
Yeah, we spoke about that, and we spoke about those same women who don't, I think Tabitha just mentioned it, who don't know what abuse is or don't know when they're being abused. The relationship dynamic in the Black community has been so dysfunctional for years. For years, Kevin's not at fault for that. It's just been dysfunctional for
It's
years.
actually decades.
For decades, yes. That so many of us don't know what abuse is. So many of us don't know what abuse looks like. And if you think a healthy, sane-minded woman would agree to domestic discipline, that's proof that so many women don't know what abuse is, what true abuse is.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
The
ask
women who
I think
the
what
women
about
who call the women who call in at this point, they just like they really want that attention at this point, right? It's not really because they asking for real advice. It's the fact that they see that some women have been viral just based on being on his show. And a lot of women want to get on. Go
but
ahead.
who's the my
Well, you
point
see,
is
the problem with
whose
the attention,
responsibility is it though? Whose responsibility
but
is
yet,
that
yeah,
that he's getting so much attention?
okay,
It's
you had
the
to
women that
understand,
give him the content, not the men.
but you have to understand when a person seeking attention, that's a sign of crying for help. And it goes back to the community that do we take mental health serious? I know a few countries been pushing this now for the last year and a half now, and I think it's time that most of our people, men and women, should start to examine it and take this really serious now. Because let's be honest, we create audience platforms because of our mental illness. It's reflective. You get me? Especially if you come on to a stream just to see yourself on camera so that you could be watched by thousands and possibly not millions of people. There's some weirdness going on there.
But that's not gonna stop anything. Okay, chaos. We black people, man. We was raised in dysfunction, dog. So that's mental illness in itself. We was raised in dysfunction, raised up dysfunctional.
I agree,
So
but
so
that
so
don't
when
mean
anytime
we
you see
remain and dysfunctional as a people,
so
men and
what I'm
women.
saying,
We
anytime
should
I mean
address
anytime
that. Yeah,
anytime you see somebody doing some dysfunctional shit, bro, it's gonna be considered normal. So like even if I say that the women calling in that they are really seeking that attention, and I'm not saying they seeking like a cry for help. It's just simply they want to get on. Like they might want to get their face out there, all right, to sell their product, whatever it may be, right?
Trying to
That
be
type of
famous.
attention.
Mhm.
Go ahead. You say
No, I
what?
agree with you. I agree with you. Trying to be famous. Go on.
Oh yeah, pretty much that, right? So yeah, the abuse part, right? Okay, yeah, we deal with abuse. We think we normalize abuse. So it's nothing to see a woman, right, call in to be abused by Kevin. That's nothing. Like no one actually feels sorry for her, even though some people might have a heart like, well, damn, he did her wrong. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, you've seen women get done wrong all your life, and you don't feel nothing for it. Like guys don't really feel too much for a woman being done wrong by another man. We just don't.
Well,
And maybe
those are
that.
the women,
Go
but
ahead.
the women are the ones calling up there night after
Okay.
night, not men.
It's I think the show is designed for women to call in, not men.
But
Every
he
now
has
and then, a man.
different.
they, but
Yeah,
are
he has
they?
different
My point is,
episodes.
they are the ones that keep everything that that keeps him fueled, that keeps the machine going for him. Are the women, whether they dysfunctional or not, whether they seeking attention, trying to get on the sell product, whatever the case, they are the
Yeah,
ones go on there on a 2 hour show every night and keep the machine going. That's
true,
my
true.
I don't know if you
Hey,
guys have seen the episode where he had a virgin who called in, a male virgin who called in, and it's just to give a direct quote. It's going to be some foul stuff. He did say, oh, you're fat as fuck when the guy said he was 280, 290 or something. He said you can't be short and fat. You got two problems there. He mentioned the fact that hey, you're not actually going up to nobody, so how are you? Of course, how are you saying you got bad energy? You never even made an attempt, and he was going at the guy. He talked about his dick. He was very abusive, as you guys would say. The way he's been talking to women, he's been even more abusive towards men. And that one is probably the most vile of the clips that have gone viral on the men's side. Now,
But it don't matter when it
the
happens.
reason why he can't get away with that shit when it come to men, because men ain't gonna let that nigga do no shit like that. Not no punk ass nigga. Like, you hear what I'm saying? Like, he been
no, I
around. Like,
don't.
we've been know. Maybe you got all right. Put it like this, right? Maybe you guys don't really know him. A lot of us, from where I'm from, been knowing the guy 3-4 years, and we know exactly how full of shit the guy is. There's a reason why you're not gonna hear no one from my actual area calling into that nigga show. We've had the conversation with the guy many times, right? So yes, like men don't put up with no shit like that. Like niggas cuss him out for trying to critique anything that's going on with a man. Like he get called all type of names, right? I've called him names in his face, right? Many times, right? And yet, it just the women don't do that type of shit.
Well, I mean,
So
if
I'm
you're
saying,
not interested in his opinion, on
yeah,
on your predicament, you're not going to call and ask for his opinion. So
true,
Exactly.
true, true.
the men who call in and ask for his opinion, they actually want it, and the same for the women. And
Exactly.
his opinion is raw and it's ugly. And I think domestic violence, a backwards, if we just take a deep dive, one of the biggest problems that actually causes domestic violence is the same as the problem that creates cancel culture, and it's our inability to have a conversation. We can't disagree in a productive way. If we see an opinion that we think is not only incorrect but could be damaging, instead of having an open discussion, we want to say, hey, let's deplatform this guy. And on the other end, if we have a discussion and it's getting a little ruckus, and we don't agree with the other person, we think their opinions are actually destructive, it gets to screaming. It can get to actually throwing hands. And that's why people are more likely to commit acts of violence, or more likely to curse and scream and be verbally abusive to each other, is because they can't have a productive conversation. And if we just take it, there's a subjective and objective reality. Of course, we all exist on the same planet.
Okay. So
We
you,
might
Can I
we might
interject here?
go ahead.
so
Yeah,
you said,
sure.
so you saying, do you
Wait,
have a
hold
problem
on
with the?
one second,
My
really.
bad, my bad.
I would like to ask, Ear to the Streets, can I drop you down for a second so I can bring somebody up? I am at capacity on the stage and need one space. Can you
Drop me down there and bring him up.
Oh, you know what? He dropped down.
Okay.
Thank you, Ear to the Street. And if you want to come back up, let me know. I want to welcome Imuna to the chat. Thank you so much for joining us today and for joining in on the dialogue. I appreciate your participation. I'm going to go back on mute. I think,
Yeah. Let me. I want to ask the guy. Do you have a problem with the petition or the you guy UB?
Yeah, I do have a problem with the petition, and I think that people should be able to disagree and disagree effectively without having their website shut down. I think it's just a fundamental part of freedom of speech that we should allow everybody to go ahead and speak their piece, even if their opinions might not be mainstream. I do have a problem with the petition.
okay, so, Yo, Bai, um, so what do you suggest be done when that person's freedom of speech or opinions infringes on the safety of an entire demographic of women? Like, what do you think should be done? I also want to add that there have been many attempts to have sound, logical, calm conversations with Kevin on his platform. I've seen it many times myself, and those women have been dismissed, especially like when married women would call in, he'll say, you don't have a dog in the fight, you have a husband, you don't really have anything to do with this. Or when other women would come in and kind of go contrary to problematic statements that he has made, then he would cut them off. There really hasn't been an opportunity for a balanced discussion on his platform. How else would you go about facilitating that conversation?
As far as the discussion goes on his platform, he has every show follow a particular topic. So if you call in and what you want to talk about is not relevant to the topic that he's discussing, he's going to shut you down. And if it's a show for women to call in, he shuts down men, vice versa. But he does do a regular show called All the Smoke, where anybody can call in and just, have any disagreement they'd like with them.
I have actually had an opportunity to view some of those shows, and they haven't been, an open opportunity to discuss things. I've watched Kevin quite a bit over the last year or so, just trying to understand the space in general. And
Hmm.
I have seen that he's not really open to having those conversations. So,
And,
you know,
and
my
he's
my 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 position is not necessarily about quote unquote silencing his voice because, like we all have agreed, there's been a significant amount of money accrued. Kevin has other places where he could go to facilitate his show. It doesn't necessarily have to be here and so readily accessible to so many impressionable people. It's just
Well,
really
what do you mean by he's got other places to go? It's YouTube is a large platform. It's not like some niche platform that's supposed to be a safe space to certain demographics. And
well, every place, every public place is assumed to be safe to all demographics, and that's when we get into the idea of hate speech. Whenever a speech begins to target a specific demographic with violence or threats of violence or egregiously aggressive language, then that is not generally accepted on
so,
public
are we
platforms.
talking about
and
his cursing issue, or are we talking
no, no,
about
no.
specifically
No, no, we're talking about
okay, because you talk about abusive language,
yeah, we're
and
talking about the threats of or the encouragement of
Can
domestic
I
discipline, which we
can
know translates into domestic violence.
I jump in
I
for
Not
a
to
second?
not to
oh,
use.
okay, what?
I don't think it's any problem with the petition. Okay, just like the gentleman was saying that Kevin saying he doesn't agree with shutting him down on YouTube.
Mhm.
I don't see anything wrong with other people exercising their rights to petition to to stop some of the hate speech that he might be putting out there. And there are impressionable people that go on YouTube all day, all day. We know that the children be on YouTube, So what
That's
he said,
correct, but children go on porn all the time. It's just because
Uh,
children have the possibility of viewing something doesn't mean we need to
or
treat
we
it like
also,
elementary school content.
but we still have to take some type of responsibility as adults. Okay, he's not just coming on YouTube just talking, a certain way. He's talking, hating. Especially he's attacking a certain demographic of people. And
Can I?
I know it's for money. I know it's for money, but does that make that right? I mean, just like he have a right to do what he's doing, other people have a right to petition. And that's how it is in this world. When you see something that you don't like, someone might have to speak up because they feel that there's a need for a change. Because we see something negative that can be resulted from this. When you're sitting there telling someone, uh, oh God, this person is calling me. When you see someone, when you're trying to encourage men to engage in some type of domestic violence, I don't even care what it is. You're asking those men to put themselves at risk of possible incarceration or death. You never know what can happen in those domestic situations. When in domestic situations, it can go from one level and escalate to another. And then history will show that some people have been killed because they've been abused throughout their time. Something triggers and that could happen. Like the other gentleman was saying, why don't leave if someone is putting all this abuse and you leave instead of like staying and are engaging in the abuse, because it can affect people's lives. It can lead to, and you notice what I'm saying is true. It can lead to more domestic violence,
True.
death, and incarceration. Who wants to have their life ruined because of domestics between a man and a woman? Walk away, live your life. I mean, if
And
you
I agree.
toxic
I
relationship and you're fighting, that's just not healthy.
Can I
no, I
just say
agree.
something real
I
quick?
agree with Chad.
My phone
Go
about to go dead. I want to say
go
something
go.
about this, and I'm gonna jump off. All right. First of all, I don't have a problem with the petition. I mean, being honest, if Kevin is talking about hate speech, okay, I understand that. I mean, far as the women about domestic abuse, but other than that, everything else he's saying, do everybody on the panel agree or disagree? Like with the statistics going about women in behavior, with women wearing inappropriate things, going back to family values. So everybody don't agree to that. I just want to
Don't
be
listen.
clear.
I personally don't listen to Kevin Samuels because I mean I've heard from word of mouth Is just like Goldie was saying, you hear certain things, it's like it's nothing that's going to push me in that direction because I just feel that whatever he's saying is not genuine. I think it's all disingenuous. It's all to make money, entertainment. Okay, so he ain't really giving nothing real to me, So it's all about
It's
enriching
it's
himself.
not from you. It's from what somebody's telling you he's not giving you because you haven't
Listen,
heard him.
listen, it doesn't matter. The point is that I
Okay, so
wouldn't
it
even
don't matter.
want to engage in that because I'm not gonna help to support something like that where especially when they're putting down black women in particular because like I said as a whole black women and men together we have so much against us already, a lot of discrimination. Why would I want to engage in hearing him trying to tear down black women in any shape or form? I don't care what shape or form it is. I'm not going to engage in that because I feel that that's just not helping the black community, period.
All right.
The
Well,
fact,
that's
Let me
that's
let
that's
me
the
ask.
same thing about Cynthia G that people talks about her. I've
eh,
actually
eh,
went and listened to her. Beside what everybody else said about her, I went and listened to make sure that I don't want to judge her on somebody else's pretense saying about her. So I went and listened to probably 3 or 4 videos. I didn't see the whole thing. I listened to spurts of it to see. Like Kevin, I look at Kevin's show. I don't look at his whole 2 3 hour. I'm not invested like that. I look at a couple of hours. I see how women act, and I look at their behaviors. Kevin, yeah, he's a little obnoxious and stuff like that, but I can't deny the way that women are acting. Their behavior is out of this world. And for women that come on and try to defend the women and their behaviors, that's what I have a problem with.
See, you know,
If
the
Kevin,
part that give
I,
me the part that give me though, well, a lot of you guys, I want to know like, all right, are you dealing with these women though? Because I hear a lot of guys who talk about like these women behaviors, and if I ask them about their wife or their girlfriend, they tell me that their wife and girlfriend don't even give them same kind of problems though, right? So why so many men caring about women who you don't even fuck with and how they behave and how they carry themselves? Why is that the issue?
okay, for me wise, my wife don't. You right. My wife don't act like
Yeah,
that. Me and my
true,
wife,
true.
we talk about stuff like
My
this
point.
about Kevin Salmon in his show. But the point of
Yeah,
this is, when it comes down to it, you see this stuff going on. You speak
yeah,
to
I
behavior of
agree.
this. Okay, but
My no, my
like I'm
thing, no, I agree. I agree. We see killings going on too. I
exactly.
don't engage in that. You don't engage in that, so I don't worry about that if it's not affecting my household per se, right? So
But
my
it
thing
affects the
is, if
community.
it can affect the community, so all right, I understand, I agree with that, but like, what are you actually going to do? What can you actually do about that right now? You can't really do nothing about it, right? Or can you?
I mean,
Like, can
from a
can any
standard.
one of you guys
well,
do anything about the behavior of a black woman, like right now? Like, can any one of you guys do it? Anything about it?
Nope.
the
I mean,
number one person
So why
who
my
do
has
thing
my
is,
thing is?
you can
the
So why do
influence
number
we?
some women because you got to
You
understand women are gonna do what they want to do.
now
Now,
I
if
agree, but
women
it's to
have
the
a better
point.
option,
Mhm.
I
go
feel
ahead.
like the
No,
woman
no,
that's
I
doing what
agree.
he's
I
talking
agree. But
about.
my thing is, if you want to influence the women, right, it had to be the women who really fuck with you like that. That's the only women I would be concerned with trying to influence and to advise is the women who respect me and love me to that point to where I can actually tell them some shit, right, and put them on real game and they listen. Not the women who don't fuck with me or don't care nothing about me, don't care if I live or die, right? I could care less about what those women are doing. You know what I'm saying? But in your
Yeah.
case, if you're saying you got a wife, I don't know if you have children or you got women in your family, if they respect you like that, that all should matter to you. It's just that the women around you abide by you and respect you and follow you and pretty much show you that respect as a man, not these other women. But it
But
also,
but
let me ask you this though too. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna be quiet real quick. I'm gonna give it to y'all. What if, like, say somebody like a Tasha K, right? A Tasha K don't speak like Cynthia G. All right, but let's say if Cynthia G had the same type of numbers as Tasha K, right? To kind of rival Kevin Samuels. And then let's say if Cynthia G, right, had Tasha K numbers, and then she mentioned that women should be able to slap a man, right? If he didn't do what he was supposed to do as a man, right? Like she should be able to slap the shit out that nigga, backhand and open hand. How would you guys actually feel about that message?
yeah, but that's the point. There's women that promote that on their channels as well. But when men say something about it, they say, "Well, you're
Yeah.
tough.
But
You're a
wait, let
man."
me
Not
let
even,
me
Can
interject.
I
not
say?
Okay.
Can I?
even
Interject for one second because I've been listening to Cynthia G for a long time, and I feel that this is another
Feelings.
opportunity of the guys in this space pointing fingers and placing blame and refusing to take accountability for their behavior. If you guys just go through my comments alone on my last videos since the petition, you will see how abusive these men are. Now, for Cynthia G and any other female content creator, I have not heard them promote slapping men, beating men, shooting men, like none of that type of stuff, unless a man had first, tried to be physical with them. But for Cynthia in particular, since we always want to bring Cynthia up, I have never heard Cynthia talk about slapping a man or hitting a man or anything like that. And to constantly try to bring her into the conversation and conflate her talking points with the domestic discipline is disingenuous, and you all know that. The things
Okay.
that Cynthia speaks about is moral behaviors that Black men have displayed, whether it be the children out of wedlock, whether it be news stories. She talks about things that have actually been done by Black men. She's not making anything up, and she's not promoting violence against those
But
men. So I
she's
don't
not
understand why y'all keep bringing her up.
Okay, this is my thing. Cynthia, I seen her. She's not promoting violence, but she's promoting women to divest, go with other races, deal with other
But y'all
guys.
are too. Y'all are too. Y'all,
Okay.
okay, I'm
Can I
sorry.
finish? All right. But the thing is, she's telling y'all to do this, call Black men Dusty and all this stuff. But then she goes and date a Dusty and have kids by Dusty. That's the only reason I looked her up, because I'm like, she talks all this stuff about Black men, but then she go get a man and have a kid with her. And I'm like, she's doing the same thing Kevin is doing.
Okay, but
She
no,
has an image to
no,
promote.
no. You belong to a community that talks against dating single mothers,
Okay,
and you
I
married.
don't.
So
I
that's
don't
a
belong to
personal
that
criticism.
community.
That's a
I, I,
personal
I
criticism, and in my opinion, it has no place because I've never brought up the fact that Kevin doesn't have a woman. We talk about relationships and bringing relationships together and how to have a good relationship, but Kevin doesn't have a history of having a good relationship. So, leave that part out of it. When we
I
talk
don't.
about arguing the points,
He does date black
so
women.
what about who she was with at one point in time and if that
Okay.
produced a child? That really
Okay.
just brings credibility to what it is that she's saying. Even when we give you guys a chance, the average at best of you, we give you guys a
But
chance.
she
Which,
gave the
wait,
worst
hold on.
guy a chance.
Which is 90% of you guys, and you guys have all admitted this. You all still turn around and function in your Black American male culture, which is a lack of value for women, children, marriage, and family. You all do the same thing, even when we try to give you guys a chance.
But she gave the
I
worst
just
guy a
want to say,
chance. This guy had
Yeah, I want.
kids. Go ahead.
I just want to
No,
Go.
my apologies. Thank you for having me, Goldie.
Yeah, can I
Peace
drop
to
you
everybody
down?
on the chat.
Yobi, can I drop you down? Because I have some more people that want to come up.
yeah, you can drop me down.
No,
I think she wanted to get a chance to talk.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of try to make it a little bit more balanced and have kind of equality between men and women.
I, w- I I would say that this conversation is interesting. That a lot of things are going on, and oftentimes we jump between the personal lives of the person and the message that they're sending. I think the central theme is the domestic violence, and as was said earlier, are we aware of what domestic violence is? That it encompasses emotional, mental, and physical abuse, and usually one leads to the other. Are we consuming as a community emotional abuse? Are we glorifying it? Are we enjoying it? Is this why the numbers are up? Both men and women are contributing to watching one another be emotionally and mentally abused right in front of us, right? If you go to some of the people who cover it, it's like, watch him eviscerate this person, watch him, drag this person. And it's not just Kevin, it's across the YouTube space that we can look at. There's something, I believe the brother at the top said it earlier, about the culture of being abused and never going to therapy and never dealing with the issues at hand. And that's part of the problem. So I think Kevin is really uncovering a deeper issue. And I think you're within your rights to be able to petition against something that is harmful to the community at large. So that's a few of my thoughts on the conversation.
Yeah. I'm gonna say is I don't have a problem with the petition, and reason being because freedom of speech is not really free like that, right? Like it's like you have the right to say what you want to say, but it doesn't mean you're not gonna have to face consequence eventually. Okay? So like no different. You go into a store and you stealing something out the store. I mean, you can freely steal the shit, nigga, but your ass will go to jail for it, man. Are you gonna get caught?
Correct.
And I think people when they use this, people having freedom of speech, they think that they should be able to say it without any retribution. I'm like, nah, that ain't how it go. And you should know that at a certain age, you should understand that if I'm going to, like, if I say fuck, like say fuck something or, fuck that, fuck this, yeah, it might be a punishment with that. And we can clearly see that just dealing with police. You know what I mean? Like your freedom of speech don't get you nowhere with the police or in the court. You know what I mean? Or in jail. If anybody been in jail, I've been in jail. All right. Your freedom of speech don't mean shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, you can say it, but what does that matter? Like you saying it, cool. All right then. Now what? So now if somebody come and kill you for it, just understand that, hey, what I said, it caused an uprising or an uproar with other people. Some people took offense to that shit. Somebody, actually came and see me about that, right? People have a problem if you speak against their religion. They might want to kill you for it. So you know that when you do it, you understand what's going to take place. Hey, you got street gangs, right? You speak against their set. You know what's going to happen when they meet you. It's just that simple. So I don't understand why folks don't know. And even when this Kevin Samuels deal, like he got the right to say what he's going to say, but hell, when he get the pushback, just because he don't engage in beef doesn't mean that people going to be okay with him actually getting away with saying what he's saying, all right, without eventually wanting him to be removed. That's why I want a lot of these guys, a lot of you guys who feel like Kevin Samuels is your goddamn savior, man. Come on, man. That Godfather shit, bro. You can become your own savior, nigga. You can actually become the Godfather of your family, nigga.
Bro.
All I can say,
all that shit,
That shit is fucking weird, bro. Like
fact.
grown ass men following behind a man, talking shit to other women for no fucking reason. That's retarded, bro.
That is retarded.
At the end of the day, let that man do his thing. He trying to make his money. Let him make his money. But if these women want to get his ass banned, ban his stupid ass. Because he's retarded anyway. Come on, man.
I'm just saying, like, I got to bring this back. I got to, for any men that's following him as far as this domestic abuse, and I got to, like, drill this in because I'm a retired police officer. And I'm telling you, okay, you in a relationship with domestic violence, it can go from one extreme to the next. Why put yourself, listen to this man, and put yourself in a predicament where you possibly can be incarcerated, killed, or exposed to more abuse? Or if you're in that relationship, what about the children involved? Seeing their parents, whether it's consent or not, seeing the parents going back fighting, one another. It's affecting too many people, so I was just telling you, you have to be very careful of who you listen to. That's not.
And Tabitha, I agree with you. And what it is, when it comes down to this, with Kevin Samuels, he got it from this woman about 3-4 years ago named Yashel, who promoted that domestic discipline shit, right? And it is a part of BDSM. I give you that. But then it also sends a mixed message, right, to a lot of women, right? That, you can deal with pain when it comes down to a man fucking you and popping on your ass, or he, choking you and shit like that, right? So like, what's wrong with now if you now didn't do what he asked you to do and he pop you in the same kind of way? So now if you hearing from, I'm talking about just going based on some logic, how the so-called the faux logic, right? The faux logic I've heard from guys saying, well, damn, I could pop a chick, hitting her from the back, pop ass all day. She ain't gonna do shit. She'll never call the police on me. Hey, so I can choke her and she'll reach her orgasm if I choke her ass. So why in the hell I can't do the same thing if she disrespect me, man? You know what I mean? Like, why can't I, come at her in this kind of way? And it's pretty much be our little thing, man. This is just what we do. And for the fact that you can't whoop me because I'm a man and you a woman, well, you just take the shit. You see what I'm saying? That's where all this is coming from. Kevin, he thinks he's slick. He's not really slick. Go ahead.
That can lead to the women revolting at some. You never know when somebody snaps.
Yeah,
when somebody's just punching you every day at school, what happens one day? One day you're gonna turn up and defend yourself in any way possible. You never know, because that's mental illness, to want to consent to fight one another, engage in violence. And you just never know what can be the outcome. You never know when it's going to be that moment when it's going to be a different switch that comes on.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yourself in that risk, especially in the family. We don't need that. We don't need that with we don't need any more of our men in jail. We don't need any more of our women in jail. We don't need this, that to be exposed in a household with unpressionable children. Any type of violence. Because it's
At the
that he's
at
not
the end of the day, all that shit is doing is dividing us as
right.
black women. That shit is just dividing us. So I mean, I would let the women do their thing, get that petition up, do what y'all gotta do, and men be fucking men. Stop following behind a man disrespecting women. That shit retarded. Like, grow the fuck up. Like, I don't understand. Like, they talking about how the women disrespect them. Y'all sound like women. She talk bad to me. She want my money. Y'all sound like some bitches, man.
Somebody disrespect you. Somebody don't respect you. Don't be with them. Why be with somebody that's not respecting you?
Exactly.
Don't be with them. Don't give them that energy. Walk away. Go to somebody who wants to treat you according to your self-worth. Why be with someone that's going to disrespect you, period? Don't allow them to be in your space.
It's more important things going on. You got Lil Nas X going to elementary school.
Oh, I can't with it. Oh my God.
Hell with the Kevin Samuels. You know what I'm saying? What about that? That's retarded, man.
I wanted to add concerning the domestic discipline. What he did was reappropriate some things from the 60s that Europeans were pushing. There were plenty of books that talked about domestic discipline and manuals and how to do it. It made its way into the Christian spaces, and then he just recycled it back into the community. And given that the community has already been accustomed to being abused and having these type of relationships, it's not a good look. So he's just reappropriating other people's talking points and trying to, especially if you saw the actual video when he introduced it, it was kind of like, yo, let me put you on game. But it's lighting a match kind of in a space that's easily combustible. And so I think that this conversation, I'll say it again, is very necessary because like you're saying, on one hand, he's saying Black women are not being abused. And on the other hand, he's telling them to report it to the police. So as the sister is saying, if this domestic discipline so-called gets out of hand, there's going to be a lot of phone calls being made. And there's going to be a lot of arrest records, as per Kevin Samuels, if you follow him, the way he's, the way the people look like they are. So be on guard.
So let me ask y'all ladies a question though on the panel. My bad, Goldie.
Thank you. I just want to also say that, that information was like misappropriated, kind of like how he like described everything. But it was also conflated between a respectability factor where he compared men disrespecting each other in public spaces and women disrespecting men in private spaces. And if a woman disrespects a man in a private space, then she should be prepared to meet the same fate that a man would meet if he disrespected another man in a public space. And see, there is like a nuance to it that only if you're paying attention to it and you have an objective mind, and you will be able to understand what it is that he was really saying. What he was really saying had nothing to do with the concept of domestic discipline that was introduced as having mutual consent, but it actually was in retaliation to disrespect. And a lot of people didn't get that part.
That's correct. He did conflate the issue, and that's what he does often. People talk about the statistics that he quotes. He's really cooking the books when he talk about statistics. You can make a statistic say anything you want it to, and just in listening to the things that he presents, I see the way in which he plays around with it. He mind bends it to prove his point, right? And so this is a mark of somebody who's manipulative by nature. And so this is, it's all coming out as we continue to go forward. It's not really about hating on somebody. It's just like the brother said earlier, you have to be accountable for the things you say. You can say what you want, but people are going to come see you, you know what I mean? About the things that you said, you know what I mean? So he just has to be prepared that there is going to be some pushback, and on his shows there's no space for you to come and objectively challenge his thought process because he holds the reins, so he can just hang up on you. He can do all of these things, and I think that's what people are feeding more into, is kind of this blood sport, this Roman, tiger in the den type vibration, and they're not really looking at what they're pushing forward and what now we have to deal with as a result. I mean, I would just also say this: there's a number of people that I've spoken to that their relationships have been broken up behind Kevin Samuels. Like the persons just started listening to his information, they started popping off, and next thing you know, their relationship has come to an end. So that's also something to mark the spirit behind the person. It's not just this person, but the spirit. Is it a divisive spirit, or is it something that's coming to heal the community? And so far from what we can see, it's causing a greater divide.
So let me ask y'all ladies a question though, right? I want y'all to be honest. I don't even lie. I won't judge you. I promise you I won't. All right. If take it off of YouTube and let's say a strong black woman, right? A strong black figure in the world, but let's say in this country, right? Somebody like Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, hell, Beyonce, and they now had a march. And with this march, it's like a Black Lives Matter type march to where now they want to have the ability to slap the shit out they goddamn man if he don't do whatever she want him to do, if he don't pay bills, if he don't bring in groceries, shit like that, right? If he don't make her a kept woman, all right? And like anytime he make a mistake, right? She get the right to slap the shit out this nigga. Like as many times as she want to until he get it, until he do it, right? All right, would you guys support that? Would you guys go and march with that? Would you support the women?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You gotta remember, us women, we also have sons, brothers.
I think Muna got that background. She got that back noise.
Okay.
Muna.
Can you hear it?
No. She got. I think the other woman. She got. Yeah. There you go. You got it.
Okay. You got to understand. Like I said, us women, we have sons, brothers, uncles, fathers. Why would we want to encourage a woman beating on a man? Because you understand that our sons become a man. I know me personally, I would not encourage that type of abuse because, like I said, it's just not healthy. You putting your hands on someone is not helping that man to be a stronger man. Don't put your hands on someone, especially if you don't want them putting their hands on you. Like, why are you hitting someone? You got to develop different ways to communicate. There's not going to lead to more violence. The same thing that can happen with women. Women could get tired of getting hit too. And guess what? A man could get tired of getting hit. I would not want to put my daughter in that position to tell her to go slapping up on a man. Okay, because that could put her in a position for him to snap one day. And my daughter could be seriously hurt. So why would I encourage something like that? Absolutely not. I would not support that.
Because Michelle Obama, Oprah, and Beyonce said so. What you
at the end of the day, my daughter would be up there having to talk to the police, or she have to go to jail. If she ends up hitting that man in a way that he could be seriously injured, guess what? My daughter's going to be the one locked up. And Oprah and them, they're not going to be able to help me or my daughter. So I'm not going to even encourage or talk to my daughter or son in that way to put them in any type of possibility of being in that situation, especially if it's a way to get out. Absolutely not. Even I look at this can really affect your life and others. You gotta look at that. That domestic stuff is very serious.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody should keep their hands to themselves. We're talking about grown people here. If you can't communicate, I think the brother earlier said it's the lack of the ability to communicate effectively. There's a lack of ability to have problem resolution. And if you have to resort to violence, then you need to check what's going on with you. Like everybody should keep their hands to themselves. No slapping to people, putting in place. Now that doesn't work because it can easily escalate. You know what I mean? It can easily escalate. So it's not a good look.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to understand, like, how was this even introduced in normal relationship dynamics? Like, where did this come from to where we would be discussing if it was acceptable or not? I just don't understand. Like, how do we even get to a point in bringing Black couples together where we talk about hitting people being acceptable, even with the safe word? I just feel like
it's when like if he's looking at a certain audience that he wants to, he wants to get, and he's trying to, make money off that. Meaning, Kevin Samuels, if that's what he's looking for, see, it's like when you're doing some type of product or something, you're looking for a specific audience. He's looking for a specific audience that finds that normal behavior, or they have a fetish with it, or something like that. So he's targeting a certain audience. So
if I must say, to put it in context, because I did see the domestic discipline, the full video, because at first I saw the clip and then I saw the full video, and in full context, it was the host of the show having an issue with getting his sister to respect him. And so they were asking the question that how did Black women get so disrespectful? And Kevin came on in the latter part and they asked him, what are some of the ways that the man can get the woman to respect her? So in context, just to be fair, he didn't just bring it out of left field. He was trying to present it to the audience as a viable option, his words, to bring her back to, quote, reality for respecting the man. It's not justifying it. It's just that it was in that context where the manipulation may not work, or the presence of the man may not work, or whatever. All of the other things are not working. And he feels like he has no other option but to make her respect him. Which doesn't make it any better,
So
but
it's like, so it's like a lot of guys.
It must be a bunch of young people, right? Because
these older people.
Wait, that is
something going on, because I'm the same age as Kevin, right? And this type of stuff, like, I never experienced this type of weird shit that he's telling these women. You know what I'm saying? And these manosphere men telling women that, they need to listen to him and all that. Like, that shit sound like two women arguing.
I think a lot of these guys, they try to adopt that Sharia law, and they mention Arabs beating the shit out their wives and shit, but they never mention what the men have to do, their obligations to these wives,
but
and how it can go in them. No, I agree. No, I'm not talking about high value. I'm talking about just Islamic belief, right? You could be able to beat the shit out your wife and shit, right? But then again, they don't understand that those same men, the family would mob up on his ass too if he don't perform his duties as an actual husband too. So a lot of Black men don't really want to go through that part, but yeah, they do want to have the freedom and the liberty to beat the shit out of a woman, man. So let me say this, right? I'm gonna say this shit. It's gonna sound kind of crazy, but when it comes down to just men, right? A lot of men, just based on me hearing niggas talk, what they really want from a woman, and I know a lot of you women not gonna accept this shit, but you're gonna have to just hear me on this one, is they want a woman who have the ability to be a freak. She like a freak hoe. She got the hoe tendencies. She got the slut look. She got all that, right? But he want to be able to control her, man. Like, control that part. And part of that control is being able to beat the shit out of her when he feel the need to. So that submission you hear niggas talk about is beating her into submission. It's not her agreeing to let him drive the car and shit and she be the passenger. It's pretty much, I got this freak hoe who I can beat the shit out of, man. So this is my woman. Like, as if I own this woman. And of course, men not going to say that out loud. They're not going to say that out loud, but in their spirit, that's what they really want when they say they want a good woman, is to be able to do that to her. And she don't make no big fuss of it. She don't make no big deal about it, right? She cook, clean, and do all that, right? And that, everybody mind their business. All right? I'm just showing you that's the mindset. So if you didn't know, you understand that part now. Because a lot of guys were raised around men beating the shit out of women. And they saw that, let's say in the hood aspect, right? You saw how those men like Ike Turner or like your uncle or your daddy, how they had full control of their household because they could slap the shit at your mama or slap the shit at your goddamn aunt or your grandmama.
I grew up around real men, nigga. Once they say what they said out their mouth and they voice, you know what I'm saying, with a firm voice, nigga, it was done.
That was done. See, you were raised around men who could use their voice and they roar like a lion and shit. But we talking about these other niggas, these alcoholic, these drug addict ass uncles, these alcoholic niggas who beat women, nigga. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Like these street niggas who would slap the shit out your motherfucker. That we talking about them guys. Those guys, that's why a lot of niggas was raised around that shit. You know what I'm saying? Not too many real niggas. Well, go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's so dangerous. What Kevin Samuels may be presenting, because like I said, this is impressionable to children that may be in that household. seeing, you know, their parents fighting. It can lead to, just like what you said, what you see is what you're going to grow up to do. We don't need that going on. You know, the Black community have so many struggles that, you know, we have to overcome as a people. And just introducing the violence into the household, I feel that that's going to be harmful to the Black community, period. Not only to the woman affected, the man, the children. Because the reality, we all know that assault is a crime.
Yeah.
And it brings me to this. I just was like, when he's talking about these women, like, what woman are you, you know, you trying to push this ideology on? Black women? Or is it other races that you're trying to do this? Or are you specifically trying to target the Black woman again in a Black household? You know, I just think it was a bad look.
Yeah, I agree. Nah, I don't know. It just, you know, I don't agree with that having to put hands on people, man. I think it is wise to walk away. All right, and even in them situations, I'm gonna say it to you ladies, right? I've heard guys say things like, you know, when they try to walk away to diffuse the actual situation, you know, women chase them, they follow them. So what do you say about that, Tabitha? Like, is a woman, is she supposed to chase a man if she know that he's heated and he pissed off and he could go off on her and he try to walk away? Should she chase after him?
Well, we all know that those situations do happen when a man is trying to leave, the woman trying to hold him back somehow. Definitely not. She shouldn't be, you know, running behind him. I mean, you know, he got to, you know, if he sees something escalating, I would advise him to leave as soon as possible to de-escalate the situation, regardless of whether the woman is trying to hold him back or the man is vice versa, the man trying to keep her from leaving. The first opportunity that you can leave. Try to get yourself away from that situation, because things could go from 0 to 100 before you know it. And
so let me ask you, you've been a
Can I add that that it's the whole thing about leaving and not coming back. Like, if you know this woman is the type that, you know, get wild like that, then that's just a woman that you can't be with.
yeah,
And like we talk about the police being an option for men who are uncontrollable like that, that's just an option, okay, on both sides of it. And that's just what I have to say about it. Like, under no circumstances should we be, you know, allowing anybody to feel comfortable hitting another person, period. You know, so
I agree. But to Tabitha though, all right, you've been a police officer, a former police officer, right? Like, what do you do in a domestic situation, right? A domestic violence situation to where it's repetitive. All right, like, so you know that this woman, she will call the police, she will call you guys to come and get her boyfriend or husband arrested, but then she don't want to press charges on a guy like that. She really don't want to go too forward with it. And then now the next 6 months she's doing the same shit. So now three times this year she called you guys to her house for this domestic situation, right? So what do you guys do? We talking about this little girl who cried wolf type shit. What do you guys do when you realize it's the same person calling you? Like, do you continue to respond or do you ignore it after a while?
no, you gotta always respond to the call. It doesn't matter how many times they call. And they also, you know, a lot of precincts have the domestic violence unit that follows with the families to see what's going on. You know, and then if there's children involved, you know, you have to you know, try to you know, take notice, you know. I try to make sure that they're safe in that situation in some type of way. Because I'm going to tell you one job that I went to when I was an active police officer. I came into the house. The woman, when I came, it was blood everywhere. It was 2 children. One was babies. They was on the bed crying. The woman's teeth was knocked out. And she did not want to give me the information to her baby father that did this to her. You know, and I'm looking and I'm looking at the children, I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I cannot have this guy come back, especially like tonight, you know, because I mean, I see that she was assaulted in a way. We might come back to a dead body or something. And I said, you got 5 seconds to give me the information. I got to take these kids. I would have to remove them. I can't take that type of chance. I'm seeing this violence. I'm like, for the man to beat her up in that type of way in front of the children, in the presence of the children, he didn't care about the children. And I was like, oh my God. And it's like, she didn't initially want to get that information up. And there was no way I would have been able to leave those children if had I not got that information. She wound up giving me the information, put up there. He wasn't there. I mean, obviously, like there's women that are going to go back, because they get accustomed to being abused and beaten, and it may be hard for them to leave. But, as a police officer, we provide some circumstances, like I said, with the domestic violence unit, where you follow up, or you may have to do a removal of the kids, depending on, the circumstances. Because I was very prepared. I was going to take those children. I was definitely going to take them from that, that night, because it was really bad. It was blood everywhere. Her teeth was visibly knocked out, and she was, I know she probably loved the man, and she didn't want to get him in trouble or something like that. But it was just no way. Like, I would have felt comfortable that night, even leaving the children in that situation. Because I mean, it's one thing if you don't want to protect yourself as a woman, the children still deserve protection.
True.
And it's the mother's duty, regardless of whatever love you have for that man. The children still have to be protected. So I was, as officer, I was really disturbed at the whole scene. So I got to talk to her and got that information.
And that's why I was saying earlier about it's kind of mixed. It's mixed signals that a lot of young men get from women. Is that like what you're saying right here, right? You got a woman who just won't leave. And I'm hearing, women have always said it's a cycle of abuse, and they get stuck in it and they get caught up in it. And when they look back in retrospect, they feel very awful and very remorseful for even putting up with this shit. But that type of stuff that takes place is what makes younger black men become abusive, because they see that it be the decent, pretty good looking women. It's not like the ugly, unfortunate looking women is dealing with that type of shit. It's be the ones that the guys really want to fuck with, like the attractive women who would deal with an abuse.
To do with the looks, you understand?
Now, it really is not supposed to. But when we talking about when you see even a good looking woman, if you see a good looking woman getting her ass whooped and she won't just leave this nigga, then a lot of young guys will grow up and say, you know what, that's how I got to handle these bad chicks, these chicks who look good. Like, I got to really show that I am that nigga, to where she's afraid to leave me. Like, she got to be afraid of me, to where she's not even gonna go to the police on my ass. And whatever it may take, I do it, right? Because like I say, if you look at black men, like I said, we was raised up in that shit. We was raised up seeing that shit. And we like, well, damn, hold on. So, all right, so she coming back to this, right? All right, she's caught up in this cycle, but god damn, she just won't leave. And she got the police on her side, but yeah, she just won't give up the information. She don't want to get the nigga locked up. She don't want to get him killed by her brothers and her daddy and shit. It's like, so is that love? You see what I'm saying? Is that what we call love?
You know what?
Because like, yeah.
I just want to bring it back to, again, so many black women in particular don't know when they are in a cycle of abuse. They don't know when it's social, mental, emotional, and even physical abuse, because abuse in so many different forms has been normalized in our community. So some of these women might see it as just a part of a relationship or a normal thing. It might take 4 or 5 years for a woman to really understand that she's in a domestically abusive relationship. And if you even pay attention to this whole dynamic we're talking about with those who call in when they know they are going to be demoralized and put down and demeaned, they still continue to do it because they see it as quote unquote constructive criticism and not necessarily abuse. So we really need to think about the fact that a lot of members in our community, both men and women, are severely hurting and severely in pain, and to continue to exploit that for views or likes or whatever, is a terrible thing that we are kind of, overlooking in our space. So I just really want us to think about where some of us are mentally and emotionally, and a lot of us don't really recognize that abuse for what it is until you have a healthier mind a stronger self-confidence, a stronger esteem. You've gone through a journey of self-love and kind of repaired some things that happened in childhood that so many of us can identify with. You won't know that you're being abused until you're on the other side of that journey. And so many of us are stuck along that path right now and don't even know it.
Mm.
Thank you, Amuna.
Not to the people, not the people in the chat room. Like some people say, I do it. I do this all the time, and I don't understand it, or I'm choosing not to get it at this point. That's what I'm trying to understand at this point. I'm just trying to understand that part. Other than that, I mean, I don't agree with it at all. But I'm trying to understand the cycle of abuse. I really am. Okay? And I understand it could be the same as you being high or you being drunk off some shit to where you just don't, you can't do shit but just deal with it until it's over with. All right, but I'm talking about how do we prevent that? So like we looking at these young girls, like me having a daughter, I just want to be able to break it down to her how she can prevent that part. Like, look, you ain't got to necessarily deal with a guy even coming at you sideways, talking greasy to you. I don't even put up with that. That's not even cool, right? Let alone if y'all gonna have sex, man, that rough plan, you getting, you having rough sex, understand that that's opening up the possibility you probably getting abused by this guy physically because he think he can get away with coming at you like that and you can take it. So like I just want to be able to teach her to prevent this shit. And I'm trying to see how do I go by actually teaching her, showing her. You get what I mean? That's why I'm asking the question to Mother Earth and glitches over bitches. I'm trying to get that understanding, right?
I commend you really with that because a lot of these girls, they need their fathers in their lives. So that's the first step right there. You being there, offering any type of communication on that type of level. A father's love is a great love. So it's very important to have the fathers in their lives. I want to commend that.
Appreciate it.
And you may not think, a little bit that little conversation you had, it went a long way. Just helping her out with that's a first step right there. Letting her know that, even if she might not know at the time that she's worthy and she does not have to put up with that. And that's not a way of love. Just like Goldie was saying, some people don't know because they never, this is what they grew up seeing. They never had someone, or even a father like what you just said, even having that conversation with a daughter.
Yeah.
So I just want you to understand like the important role that you take as well as other Black men, the important role that you take of being in the life of your child, just period. That little bit that you saying that you're seeking for more guidance, that little bit just went a long way. And I just want to just really give you high recommend with that because I didn't have, my father in my life. So I'm always wanting to encourage, especially the Black men, to be in the lives of their sons, their daughters, and to have those type of conversations. And don't be guided like say like if your daughter was to go on YouTube and she happened to see a Kevin Samuels or see something like that, not to follow in those steps.
Not to follow in footsteps, yeah. And also, Tabitha, also want to understand that, you being with a guy, like when she get older, she's 10 right now. So when she get older, and I would have let her know, like, look, you being with a guy, I don't want you to feel like you can put up with anything because you're trying to gain your independence from me and your brother and your uncle. And, you don't want to always have to come and tell us everything that goes on between you and this actual dude. Because I saw somebody on Instagram yesterday, this woman, and she was like, you women need to stop calling your brothers and your daddy for everything that happened between you and your nigga. And I was listening like, what? Like, I'm listening like, well, damn, okay, is she making a point or is it she's being detrimental to women? Because I understand if you just calling them, you say again?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, not calling for like every little situation.
Every little thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you heard it, heard or not. There's been some cases where, like the woman will call her man to come and get into it with her brother, and then, a fatality happens in the midst of that. And I mean, you don't want to, because I know it's just natural. Like when we're kids, if you're a kid and you get into a fight with a guy, you go get your brother to come and defend you and everything like that. If you're in a relationship, you want to be able to develop skills to be able to fix certain situations yourself. But if it's like a violent situation, You know,
violent.
you call your brother, and then your brother gets into this altercation with him, possibly get arrested or hurt or someone, whatever, and then you end up back with the man. You know,
Yo, that's a problem.
that's a
And,
problem right there.
and I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be fair and balanced when I say this part, right? It's not my daughter like starting shit, and when the guy retaliate, then I'm coming to her rescue, or then she's calling me and her brother. We talking about like the guy, he's on some bullshit, and he fucking with her on up to the point where he put hands on her, or he's getting too close to her in her face, you know, just really being really aggressive,
Well, you
and he
gotta,
have no really good reason.
you gotta
So
defend her. Is she ready to leave though? Like
yeah,
after
that's the point. That's the point. Are you ready? That's the point. Are you ready to leave? Because my thing is, I know a lot of women deal with this shit because it's their situation. They pretty much want folks to really stay out of it, or they want to be able to kind of get through it themselves without always having to go to the daddy and the brother and the uncle shit. But I don't want my daughter to ever have to feel that she need to gain independence from me in that kind of way. Because I can be understanding that a relationship may be some shit may go on between you two that may not be my business though. But yet I don't want you to be in danger, all because you want to take care of this on your own, and all because you hearing other women telling you don't call your daddy and your brother and all of them for every little thing that goes on between you and your man, right? So I don't want that to happen. To the point where now where you getting your ass a straight whoop. Because now, how would you be able to explain it to us?
You gotta tell your daughter like to seek help when you need help. Seek help. Even if it's like a situation, sometimes you know they might need somebody to talk to. You know, so I would, you know, encourage an open door, like I'm here for you, you know, if needed, because you don't want to close those doors. You want to make them open with sharing and everything like that. So I would say not run to you, because you want to alert people, especially when it's abuse. You want to alert people. You need people to know what's going on. So sometimes it's hard to get out of those situations.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you something, Tabitha? My bad, Goldie, my bad.
I just want to add, you know, it seems that in that scenario, and I know it's a hypothetical, it might be necessary to tell your daughter that she might not be ready for a relationship, or, you know, a conversation to be had with the daughter regarding if she's really ready for a relationship, if there is, you know, an element of her starting something or yada, 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 or just, you know, instigating things and then bringing family into it. Maybe she's not healed enough or complete enough or whole enough or whatever for a relationship. And those conversations need to be had as well.
True.
I don't want to stop y'all flow because y'all having an amazing conversation. But I'm going to shut it down in 10 minutes, and I just want everyone to know that in 10 minutes I'll be shutting it down, okay?
Okay, all right. Most definitely.
I do want to say that anytime when people go for any form of trauma, and I mean anything, the last thing anybody should be doing is try to interact and date and mate. And like I said, I talked to enough men that's therapists in this field, from Interracial and others that have professions. And I advise, and I never push it much on my channel because I know it's very sensitive, and I know Black people think that they don't need to be seeing a second opinion from a professional just to get a clean bill of health mentally. But I say personally that you need it, because you bring on that same trauma and damage into other relationships, which people don't want to deal with. And it applies to both the man and woman side of things. No one want to deal with no man that has mental issues and trauma where he can't control certain emotions and he brings it into your relationship. It's going to come out dirty. Same for the man. You don't want to deal with a woman that brings certain trauma and possibly some type of physicality. And I say possibly because there is this now going on in our community. You don't want to deal with that. So like I said, the first thing of anything, once you're an adult and you experience anything, or you have experienced it up to your adult age, legal adult, then it is your rightful duty to try to seek some form of professional help. If you're in the school system, they have therapy. Thank you. You take the opportunity of the free therapy or whatever you have to. You must try to get this control or correct it one way or the other. You should not be going into any relationships with these type of attitude, behavior, etc. Because only thing I lead is more chaos and disorder. And we already know that people, as much as I want to say it, love chaos. It was not that people will not entertain these spaces. They will not entertain certain channels that bring out the chaos order within them. You get me? So.
Most definitely. I want to say this to Goldie. I appreciate you for letting me on the panel to talk my little stuff. All right. And Tabitha, it's good talking to you once again. And Chaos, I fuck with you. later on. Hey,
Yes.
Thank you.
appreciate you,
I
man.
appreciate it too. I just want to
Okay.
say to Chaos, that he brought up a really interesting part about the therapy. Some people look at it as a stigma. Some people look at it as a negative thing. Sometimes seeking therapy is helpful because you're not dealing with people, a person that personally like knows you like as a family member. Because sometimes when you tell family members, they go and tell somebody else, and then the information is going from here to there and everywhere. So sometimes therapy is a helpful tool, and it shouldn't be looked down upon. Because being able to express yourself is like really, really, really important. And because some people hold it in until it's like too late, and it could be seen as like a safe space where that whatever you discuss there is not going to go, definitely not going to go from this family member to that family member or that friend to that friend. So I mean that's that's an option that some people definitely I would recommend taking up on.
And think about this, Tabitha. It's now recently for the past year, I hear from, the same content we're talking about that some people, I think women are taking serious about therapy now. And I think some men hopefully are taking serious on therapy too. And right now, with the profession that people that have psych degrees or are in the clinical field, that this should be a great opportunity for y'all to really present yourself more into a lot of spaces and have these channels available for people just to get them somewhat started. Not to have the concept, but just to get them started so they have an ideal. Because let's be honest, people don't want to do things because it will label them like crazy. They can think, say, you gotta go see a head doctor. Are you crazy? And people don't want to be around people that thinks they're crazy getting some mental help because we in this community think we're normal. Like I said, dysfunction is a normality in the black community. And we think that no one can correct this unless they go to a pastor or God could judge them. And I said, listen, stop that foolishness. Go get actual professional help. Do the work. This is the only way you're going to be better as a man and woman, especially in this crazy, wicked society. You can't go around here in the same mindset. It's like Amos once said, for the world to remain in the state it is in and how black people remain in this state they're in, we have to be backwards. Backwards thinking. And we got to get out of backwards thinking and move forward. Forward thinkers, move forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. Instead of handling things violently, sometimes you gotta also just work on yourself. Because I know a lot of times when you people get into certain altercations or arguments, they're like quick to blame the other person. Sometimes you gotta look at what are you doing. Look at yourself and look at what you're doing to not. I'm not saying to blame yourself, but take a look at yourself. What are you doing that either is egging it on, or what are you doing to stay in that relationship or trying to get away? You just got to take a look at what you're doing as well. Got to be. I know it's hard sometimes for people to take a look at like, well, what am I doing to contribute to this? But you got to take a look at that seriously. And some people, unfortunately, don't do that. So. Like the thing when we go back to like whether if a woman is arguing, should you like put your hands on her to try to keep her in line? Is that really gonna help? You gotta take a look at look at yourself. Do I really need to be hitting someone for someone to listen to me? Is this really a relationship that I should be in? Probably not.
One thing I want to say, cause I'm looking at the chat room by a person that goes by the glitchy.
Oh,
They forgot said, I am chaos, and I'm here to restore the order in which the world you live in today. I'm a free moving person. I call myself fucking Chaos Rain for a reason. And I'm not even draw the real chaos in me yet. So do not tempt me. You get me? For those who want to put and talk about what I do in other platforms. If you watch me, good. Keep watching me. Thank you.
Oh, okay, since chaos got that out. But yeah, in the comments I see Eric and Mother speaking on a dynamic of physical discipline for children. And even with that, I feel that there are better ways to teach, your children without hitting them. Hitting a child, another person, is really one of the most lowest and just one of the lowest ways to get your point across and to really correct behavior. So again, with this just being introduced into the relationship dating sector, my mind is really just blown about the whole thing. And I'm equally shocked by women who find it acceptable to be hit by their partners. It's mind blowing for me. But I appreciate you all coming in today and making this panel so dynamic again. You guys don't understand that these panels, these conversations
Mommy.
are not nearly as
Mommy.
dynamic without your
No,
support.
no, they out.
Oh, you sprayed it? Okay, thank you.
Mommy, they go.
Okay, we're gonna go. Without your support and your contribution to the conversation, even the people in the chat, y'all make these conversations dynamic,
Mommy,
and
let's
I think we
go.
really are.
Mommy,
Okay,
let's go.
okay, we're gonna go. My baby ready to go, y'all. Y'all make these conversations dynamic and beneficial in so many different ways. We have, I think, 17 more subscribers needed to get to 500. If y'all can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell if you do subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I'll try to go back again live tonight for about an hour if I can, and we can talk about something fun, and have a little bit of fun when my husband gets back home. But again, I just want to know. Okay, we're gonna go. My baby is ready. To end the conversation, I just want to know if the community that we're talking about is really proud of the reflection of itself as it stands today. That's the reason why I started this video. I want to know if we are really proud of what we have displayed at this moment. All right, so thank you guys.
Hey, don't forget to promote your stream with the two lovely ladies.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make another post about that, but y'all can see me tomorrow morning at the Women's Breakdown. Mother, can you add their channel to the chat, please? At the women's the breakdown, a woman's perspective. That's where I'll be tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm so looking forward to getting with those ladies and having a really good conversation. So yeah, I'll be there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I look forward to seeing all of y'all there. And thank you so much again, y'all. I'll try to be live again soon. Oh, wait, say it again.
Thank you so much for bringing attention to this, type of situation.
Yeah, it's not fun to talk about sometimes, but we've learned so much and we've grown so much. We talked about the element of entertainment earlier and how that's captivating, but it's really good that we have some mature viewership that really wants to delve into these more serious issues in a quality way, So I appreciate y'all all again for all of that. Thank you so much, Mother, for adding that. So I'll try to be live again. Y'all subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will know if I go live. Yeah, he ready to watch Paw Patrol, but his favorite one is PJ Masks. He loves them too. So yeah. I see you just came up again, but I'm gonna shut it down. All right. I'm gonna go live again, and I'll see y'all again soon. What you say? Tabitha.
I was like, okay, good night.
Okay, see y'all later, okay?
Bye.
Bye. Say bye, baby.
Bye.
Bye. See y'all later.
Bye.
You say